Okay, can you do that? Because I'll have to just send it to all the parents.
Yes, apologies here. That was just all right. Let's all right. I'm gonna toss this. I'm just posting this link to everyone, and then Rishi, I'm sending it to you as well. Great. So it's now on this sort of streaming chat, and from there, we'll give people a moment. Rishi, I'm just going to send it to you as well.
I'll just email it to all the parents as well. So guys,
Yep.
if any of your parents sort of ask you, just tell them I'm gonna send them an email right away. And
Right. And thanks again for bearing with us, guys. That was sort of an unexpected, again, one of those moments, but we're going to power through it and then get going with some awesome presentations. All right. So just for context, guys, it's going to be Zoe's group who's going first. So if you guys are all ready and you've picked your sort of share screen person, we thought that we'd sort of start with having a counselor sort of present and talk about the group. In this case, Zoe is here and we'll have her present. And then as we go forward, we'll have one of the counselors also give a quick introduction to each of the groups. In the meantime, I'd say, you know, since I'm not presenting and since those of you who aren't as well, if we could turn off our videos, I'm gonna sort of lower the volume of this music and we'll start to get ready for the first presentation. I'll keep the music going though, just for a little moment as we finish up the YouTube. And I'm gonna share the link right now, just a moment.
okay, I think I'm set, Sean.
Awesome. Okay, great. So let me I'm just getting the link up, which I will do for all you guys as well. But just another reminder for those who haven't already, who aren't presenting, I guess it's a good time now to start turning off your cameras. And we'll give it just one more minute. So in just a minute, we'll begin with the presentations. All right.
So Sean, we're just, if all the counselors can just have their microphones and their cameras on, I'm just going to introduce you all to all the parents
Awesome.
who are going to be joining us. And then from there on, we could move to the presentations.
Great. And so I see people are already hopping on to our live stream, which is awesome. I'm going to put the link in right here. And for everyone else, yeah, actually, if we could begin then by having all the kids just turn off their cameras for a moment, that would be great. And all the counselors could leave them on. Great. So for those final few kids, make sure to turn off your cameras and then we're excited to get going. There we go. There's not too many technical difficulties. We're doing pretty well so far.
So maybe, Sean, if you could wait one more minute, because I saw in the early link we had around 80, 90 people signing in, and we still have, I think, only 20, 25 people. So I'm sure they're just coming back on this.
Exactly. Wait just a
Get
moment.
one more minute.
I'll toss some more music on.
saw in the early link, we had around 80, 90 people signing in.
Oh, it's on a slight delay, so it's actually a good thing on our end too, in case things go horribly wrong, which they won't. But great. And just another reminder to all the students, we're gonna hopefully see you guys soon on the camera, but for now, feel free to just turn off the camera so that we can sort of spotlight some of our counselors for the beginning.
Are we good to start now, Ishan?
That sounds good.
Ishan, you turned off my camera. I'm part of Zoe's group.
Right. So apologies. That was a little bit of a miscommunication. We're going to be turning off all of the kids' cameras just for a moment, just to introduce the counselors, and then from there we'll turn on Zoe's camera. I mean, all of Zoe's group's cameras as well.
Okay.
Ishan?
Yep.
Yeah, actually, the videos interrupted on the live stream of YouTube, the new link.
Okay. And is it for everyone? Because I know that. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's kind of paused.
It's paused. Okay, good. Thanks for the heads up. All of the kids' cameras just for a moment, just to introduce the counselors, and then from there we'll turn on Zoe's camera. I mean, all of Zoe's group's cameras as well.
Okay.
Ishan?
Yep.
Yeah, actually, the videos interrupted on the live
I
stream.
think that's Phil's. I'm gonna mute that for a moment. I think this is the new link. I want to post it back into our full chat. So let's see. The live streams obviously come with some problems, but we're gonna make it work. Hopefully this is. We'll take a look to see how the
live stream's looking good on my end here.
Is it okay? Perfect.
Yep.
I do see it's working on mine as well. So perhaps it could be a local issue. But one more time, the link is posted on the chat, and we've sent it out to all the parents. Rishi, feel free to take a look and see if it matches. But I think on sort of this end, it might just be on the sort of individual level, and actually it's working on the sort of platform level.
Okay, perfect.
Great. And so with that, do we want to begin with introductions? And hopefully with those introductions, parents will continue to make it on as the presentations start.
Okay, so I'm just gonna post, because I think the link you have just posted again is a new link.
Gotcha. Okay, I wasn't sure. I just refreshed the page, so maybe that was the problem, that YouTube changed the.
Okay.
Yeah, and apologies here for the delay, guys, but thanks for bearing with us.
Just sending it to all the parents once again on their email addresses.
Great. Yeah, apologies again. I know that for a lot of you guys, your parents are probably just a room over, but after this conference, definitely thank them for, taking that extra time to click those extra links.
Okay, sent.
Great.
And I'm gonna just, oh shit. I'm just gonna get the link again. Okay, we should be good now.
Wonderful. So with that, I'll leave it over back to you, Rishi, to sort of get started, and we can take it from there.
Perfect. Okay, so welcome everyone who's joining us on the live stream right now. My name is Rishi, and This is the YLC program 2020 virtual conference. It took us a lot of time. We were sort of not sure when, of course, coronavirus hit us, whether we'll be able to take the YLC program forward. But of course, due to, a lot of diligent work by the entire YLC team, I'm proud that we were able to get so many students and so many counselors to, come on and really make this program a success. So hopefully, except of really, cutting what just happened in the last 10 minutes, I think technologically we've been pretty seamless so far. And again, thank you, Ishan. Thank you, all the counselors, for really being real mentors and tutors for these kids for the past 6 days. And we are very excited to actually showcase, as I wrote in the email, the presentation is just one part of YLC, which you will all be, having a look at today. But other than that, these kids have really come a long way in last 1 week. I personally had my own doubts of how these project groups would work in a virtual environment, but I think these kids have worked really hard, and hopefully you'll see all of their projects moving forward. Let me now introduce you all to Ishan Prasad, who's the current YLC chair, and a good friend as well. And he will sort of introduce you all to all the lovely counselors, whom, of course, are our kids' favorite. And we'll take it from there and we'll move on to the presentations.
Great. Welcome, everybody. And thanks for joining us on the live streamed link. Apologies for that difficulty, but I think it's sort of a great moment to talk a little bit about our sort of thoughts for YLC more broadly. When we came into the spring and we realized that we couldn't join each other in person in India this year, we were looking for the next best thing, and Zoom had worked well for our classes. So we were super excited to try to see what would happen. And we recognized that we would probably be one of the first people to do, a Zoom conference of this scale. And I think, as with sort of anything that, comes with innovation and being a trailblazer, there's going to be difficulties and times when you're uncomfortable. And so we've definitely been big proponents about talking to our students about leaning into that discomfort and, enjoying, some of the difficulties that might occur, and sort of enjoying what comes with being, an innovator. With that, as Rishi mentioned, my name is Ishan. I'm the current director of YLC, and we're fortunate to also have Albi, and who's joining us on our Zoom as well, who was our previous director. I'm a rising third-year student at Harvard studying computer science and linguistics, and I myself was a YLC alum. I did the YLC Boston conference in 2015, and then spent several years as a junior counselor. So to be full circle has been super exciting, and it's been so great to now not only be doing YLC around the world, but to also be doing it virtually as well. We've got 10 awesome presentations today, and we're gonna, have each of our counselors introduce our groups, and in some cases, I'll be introducing as well. We're really excited, and we're so impressed by all the hard work the kids have put in. They've hopefully had a lot of fun, and they've done a great job sort of coordinating and doing, all of their work digitally. So we couldn't have asked for a more impressive group of students to be with us for our first ever YLC virtual conference. With that, I'm going to pass it over to our first group, which is led by Zoe Urban, and she will introduce that group, and we'll get right on started with all of our presentations.
Great, thank you, Ishan. I personally am so honored to introduce my amazing group, Group 10. Over the course of this past week, I have watched every individual member of my group shine in their own unique and individual way. While I already knew that every student in my group was a leader going into this conference, over the past week, they have really grown in their individual leadership styles and capabilities. Furthermore, they have truly honed their leadership skills throughout this conference. And my students, they have worked unbelievably hard over the entirety of this week in applying their skills into their social change projects. And I really cannot wait to see you, to have you see them put their dedication, their enthusiasm, and their diligence into action through their social change projects. I don't want to spoil it any more than that. So without further ado, here's my Group 10 social change project.
Great. And counselors, I mentioned this in the chat, but we'll be introducing all of ourselves at the start of each of our project groups. So in the meantime, if you're not presenting, feel free to turn off your video streams, and we'll turn on our Zoe's group's video streams. And from there, get started with the presentation. Additionally, one more reminder for the students who are presenting, make sure your mics are on, and hopefully there won't be too much feedback, but just in case you're speaking and we can't hear you.
Hi guys, my name is Anya, and I would really like to share a beautiful quote with you all by William Allen White, which is youth should be radical, youth should demand change in the world, youth should not accept the old order if the world is to move on. A question that my group and I stumbled upon was if menstruation is a naturally occurring and ubiquitous process, then why do women feel shame and embarrassment when discussing their periods? Which led us to our formed youth-led organization, Project Amaryllis. I would like to now hand it over to Amber, who will take you forward with our presentation.
So we as a group conducted a survey consisting of around 126 people who responded to us on how they feel about talking about their periods and how comfortable they actually are and how important menstrual hygiene is to them. So as you can see, 87% of the people who responded think that menstrual hygiene is quite important. Okay. So some of the testimonials say that there's no shame in it. Growing acceptance of menstruation is in society is necessary, and we need to change our mindsets. Period stigma should not hold back on us, which is very true because we as a team believe that periods are not something to be embarrassed about. In fact, that it's something very natural.
With further ado, let's delve right in as to what menstrual hygiene actually is. And as you can see, the definition given below is a very rosy picture, to be very honest. Some of the stats are 20% of girls drop out of school after reaching puberty due to lack of access to sanitary napkins, and only 12% of women in India use sanitary pads.
So what are some of the issues faced by women with respect to menstrual hygiene management? The first one and the most common one is that many women, especially those who live in rural areas, do not have access to clean disposable sanitary pads and products. So they end up using cloth and newspaper instead of sanitary pads. This means that there is a lack of awareness among most women on what hygienic sanitary products are and how to use them. For example, they dispose of menstrual products in domestic waste and in public toilets and flush them down the toilets without knowing the consequences of choking. The third problem, which is also a pretty big problem, is that there is lack of access to washrooms and clean and hygienic ones, especially. So many girls end up dropping out of school because of lack of access to clean washrooms. This is very essential for them, especially during menstruation, which many of them do not have.
So what is PCOS? Polycystic ovary syndrome, also known as PCOS, is an endocrine disorder which affects women. It has genetic, hormonal, metabolic, and reproductive implications. It can be caused by, first, insulin resistance.
And hopefully there won't be too much feedback.
And how comfortable they actually are, and how important menstrual hygiene.
Yeah, go on, Asta. You're muted right now, Asta.
PCOS can be caused by, first, insulin resistance, which is the resistance provided by the body to the hormone insulin. Second, through gene complications. Third, through inflammation in the body.
There are many symptoms of PCOS that include, but are not limited to, irregular periods, heavy bleeding, hair growth, acne, weight gain, and even skin darkening.
Okay, so what are the effects of PCOS? So having higher than normal androgen levels can affect your fertility and other aspects of your health. So some of the effects are infertility, metabolic syndrome, which basically means that when the PCOS increases cholesterol and high blood pressure, together these factors are called metabolic syndrome, and they increase the risk of heart diseases, diabetes, and even strokes. Depression, cancer, and sleep apnea. Now, sleep apnea, this condition causes repeated breathing at night, which interrupts sleep due to PCOS. So this is called as sleep apnea. Now, Aditi will talk about treatment of PCOS.
So within the initial stages of this disorder, if diagnosed properly, the affected patient can easily treat themselves with simple diet and lifestyle changes. But if in some drastic cases, they also have to resort to surgery in order to prevent the drastic effects that Sakshi just talked about.
The varied areas across India. A 2016 study involving nearly a lakh of girls in India found that almost 50,000 did not know about menstruation until the first time they got their period. The study further explains how many girls even think that they're dying or have got a horrible disease the first time they menstruate due to pain and blood. Menstruation has a very direct impact on education. A 2014 report by the Education Darsa informed that almost 23 million girls in India drop out of school annually because of lack of menstrual sanitation management facilities, including availability of sanitary napkins and awareness about menstruation. The report further suggests that the girls who don't drop out usually miss up to 5 days of school every month. Sahana Bhatt, the co-founder of NGO Sukhi Baba, said menstruation is such a taboo subject that many women are ashamed even to seek medical advice if they face any health problems due to menstruation. Over to Aisha.
Okay, so now we shift our focus to the rural areas. In rural India, menstruation is embedded in myths and taboos. It's not something people openly talk about. So much so that over half of the girls don't know about menstruation when they get their first period. When we talk about the rural women, everything just comes down to this basic issue, lack of awareness. The misinformation and the stigma often lead them to use unsanitary methods. This is something I wanted to bring into the notice of everyone here. We use sanitary napkins, right? You know what they use? They use dirty rags, they use leaves, they use sand, and even ash. Some do use a cloth, and we might be like, oh, that's progressive. Not really, because the taboos further prevent women from washing their clothes publicly, and more importantly, from drying them out in the sun. So they often end up using the damp cloth, which is unhygienic as well as hazardous to health. So yeah, finally, I just want to say that this is a topic that we can all talk for days. But for now, over to Anna for some stats.
A study conducted by the revealed that 80% of women are aware of sanitary napkins, but only 30% actually use them. It also further indicated that 22% of girls have admitted that there are no proper washroom facilities. After this study in 2018, many state governments actually implemented a lot of schemes by providing more than distributing free sanitary napkins. Although it's a great initiative, but it also shifted a lot of people's attention from actually spreading the awareness about how to use them and what is menstrual hygiene. So I think we should go on to the solution.
So now we would be showing you some of the solutions to this problem. So the short-term smart goals to this problem are webinars with gynecologists and other professionals, which we will conduct, and a self-coded website, which we have already started.
The solution to this massive problem is very necessary. One of the solutions we would look up to is that we will raise funds.
So I'll be talking about the digital solutions that we have already implemented. Being in lockdown, our main aim was to establish our presence online, for which we created an Instagram page where we have currently talked about our project and what we aim to do and our vision for the near future. We have also introduced the team and our advisor, Zoe. We have also established contact with two NGOs, one of them being called Zoe and the other Aqua A Kashmir, with whom we hope to work in the near future.
As for our long-term goals, we are planning on collaborating with NGOs. We have reached out to some already, and we are also planning on visiting rural areas and slums. We would want to promote other similar organizations and work with other youth-led projects as well. Lastly, we will be conducting guest lectures, short videos, and lives on our social media, spreading awareness about our project.
Go on, guys.
Over to Aryaman.
Um, with that, we come to the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and thank you from the bottom of our heart to Rishi sir for allowing us to form this organization and giving us this platform to share our ideas and thoughts. I would also like to thank all the counselors without whom Harvard YLC 2020 and our project would not have been possible. On behalf of all my teammates, a huge shout out to Zoe for encouraging, supporting, and molding us into the best possible youth changers and leaders we could ever be. Zoe, you're an awesome leader. And last but certainly not the least, thank you all for listening. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did putting it up for you.
In the end, we'd also like Manguru to share the website that he coded for our project. If Manguru could share his screen.
Absolutely, thank you. So this is the website we've coded for our project, and it's basically on women's health. And this is all self-coded, which means it's not made using any existing GUI such as Wix. So it basically talks about our projects, our goals, and how we were inspired by the Harvard YLC program. And there's also a lot of information for people to be able to read on, such as menstrual hygiene and issues faced by the MHM. Here's just a deeper look into the website. Then there's a separate joiners page if there's any separate NGO who might stumble upon our website and would like to join us. And so in this page, we're basically telling them about our goals and how they might be able to help us achieve them. Lastly, we also have a contact us page, which has a Google form in it. So what we do is basically we take information from you guys and how you think about the menstruation in India and all this hygiene. And by submitting this form, we give you access to a separate line through which you can connect with us.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Group 10 and Zoe and all of you guys who put so much hard work. It was such a great start to our conference. And so with that, noting our time, we're going to jump right into Group 9 led by Viv and Rohan.
And before Rohan jumps in, just one thing to all the parents who are watching us, you have to realize that, again, we have kids from around 45 cities and around 100 different schools. So to come up and even form a team and having all passionate people coming together and make a project on their own time and tying up with NGOs, making presentations and websites designed by themselves is, just shows you how far they've come in 3 to 4 days by the time they got introduced to their project. So thank you, Aditi, and the entire team, Group Zoe, to present, and over to Rohan and Vivian's team.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Rohan. I am a current rising sophomore at Harvard from Boston. I'm studying applied math and economics, and I've been working with Group 9 along with Vivian. I've really enjoyed getting to know this group of brilliant young leaders, and I've also really been inspired by their initiative and passion. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Vivian.
Hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a rising junior also from Boston, studying social studies and Spanish. And yeah, just to echo what Rohan said, I'm endlessly impressed by this group of students. I'm especially impressed by their collaboration. As we all know, on Zoom, it is tough not to talk over each other, tough to kind of get your point across, but they were so generous listening to each other and so good at organizing and delegating, and just the final project they came up with and the website and everything was incredibly impressive. And so I'm so excited to share with you guys all that they worked on, and I think that you guys will be equally impressed. So without further ado, we will share the screen.
Greetings to all. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time to hear us out. We thrive in chaos and like to call ourselves the indecisive idiots. But out of respect for the formal environment, I'll restrict myself from saying so. We are Group 9, that is Viv and Rohan's group. Through the following presentation, we hope to explain the issue of rural unemployment and present before you our unique solution to it.
Is rural unemployment really a serious issue in India? We chose this topic because it was something many of us were passionate about and all of us believed was not getting the attention or solutions it deserved. In a country like India, with the highest rural population in the world, which makes up to 66% of the entire population in the world, of the country, the situation of rural people is truly disheartening. We shall continue to tell you more about why it's such an important issue and what we can do about it.
Unemployment is a condition of involuntary idleness. India is a nation that faces massive unemployment problems. The COVID-19 crisis has crippled the economy, thus leading to an increase in the unemployment rates. Currently, 1 out of every 4 workers in rural India is unemployed, and the situation may worsen if we turn a blind eye to the problem at hand. Despite the various efforts of the government to mitigate the suffering of the poor and the unemployed, the magnitude of the rural unemployment has been increasing for a pretty long time. This increase is attributed to factors such as skill deficiency, illiteracy, rapid growth of population, lack of opportunity, and absence of a stable platform for outreach. There are some of the issues that we are trying to address, and further, we are trying to find a solution to them too.
I'm going to start by throwing a quick question at all of you. Please check the chat box and answer. At what percent of rurals are unemployed in India as of 2020? The options were A, 30% to 40%, B, 15% to 20%, and C, 20% to 30%. While most guessed A, the answer is C, 20% to 30%. So I'd like to paint a more optimistic picture here. So now that you all have a fair idea of the situation, I'm going to explain why it is so important. The statistic underscores the absolute importance for working on rural development through employment generation. Now let us all put our socio-economic stratifications into a pyramid. The rurals are at the bottom layer in terms of their numbers as well as their level of income. And just as strengthening the base makes the stability of a pyramid more robust, so will the economic development of the rurals make our country more robust. I would now like to hand it over to Yash.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tarani, for that. So I'm what people call the numbers guy. So if you look at the numbers, these are obviously not encouraging numbers. Rural unemployment rate, though, still has remained lower of that urban rate. But I think over the past couple of years, it has seen an upward trend and is now, I would say, pretty much up to the urban rate. But there's a silver line to this, and that is the internet. The internet penetration in rural India is far greater than as compared to urban India. And so our online platform is basically the cause of the issue. It can help here. And that's why we are also targeting, I would also like to see that most of the people falling in the age distribution, like 34 million people in the 20 to 29 age group, are basically the main people which will be affected. And we see that rural unemployment rates are mainly between these age groups. So this is an obvious silver lining, and this is something we have to work upon.
So we chose the northeastern region of India because it's considered the most economically backward region of India. The state of Meghalaya has the most unemployment in the entire country. More than 70% of unemployment is in the three northern Indian states, namely Tripura, Manipur, and Mizoram. Out of all the Indian states, the northeastern region is considered the most economically backward area in many aspects. Hence, we decided to take up this region, and which will be further explained ahead.
The graph on your screen shows unemployment rates in rural area of northeastern states. Northeast India comprises of 7 states commonly known as the Seven Sisters, which are namely Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Manipur, Nagaland, Tripura, with Sikkim as the cousin. There had been growing concerns about increasing unemployment as a vital economic problem in the northeastern regions. The major reason behind this increasing unemployment is the underdeveloped infrastructure and low literacy rates. Moreover, very few attempts have been made in the past to tackle unemployment at regional level in India.
Let's talk about the current scenario of coronavirus, better known as COVID-19. Employment is at an all-time low as the economy has been hit at the advent of COVID-19. The Indian economy is primarily urban-led. Therefore, the gap in between the development of urban and rural, which is widening, while the rural economy, which was already fragile, is further weakening. The government gives a major share of the public spending on large projects for urban infrastructure. Therefore, rural areas are being neglected. Due to the COVID-19, there is a staggeringly high level of unemployment. 40 million people in the country are unemployed, which is mostly in the unorganized sectors and overlaps with the rural sector.
Now that all of us are on the same page and understand the issue, I present before you our solution. Rural, a platform initiated to strike Rubaru, literally meaning conversation with the rural. It aims to spread awareness and provide resources for rural employment in northeast region of India. We promote skill building amongst the targeted crowd and raise awareness about the many alternate methods they can make use of to earn livelihood.
Our mission statement, Urbans for Rurals. We plan to use urban methods for providing alternate methods of employment and skill building in rural areas.
So I'm just going to give you all an overview of rural. So as we all know, the main occupation of people in rural areas is agriculture, and knowledge about alternate job opportunities is scarce. Our government has already established various schemes on rural employment, and what Rural provides is that it provides an online platform where they can find information about those pre-established government schemes. They can learn the skills necessary for working with a stable income and gain knowledge about alternate job opportunities. We also reach out to NGOs and corporations working in this area and help the rural people connect with them. Now I would like to hand it over to Rian.
Thank Thank you, Khyati. So, like, you may ask what we as young adults are doing to achieve maximum rural employment. We're providing for an online platform, such as in these restricted times, that promotes rural culture by showcasing rural talents. So, many talents of people in rural areas are gone unseen. We tend to provide that in an online platform where everyone can see their skills, and NGOs and other organizations can pick them up for employment. We're also raising awareness on alternate methods of employment. Like Khyati said, agriculture is a main occupation. So we tend to provide other alternate methods which will give people stable employment. We have created a social media presence, which is important in this time because many people will reach out to big organizations and to through social media. We have built a website that provides for existing programs that the government put out to showcase these rural talents. So you may ask who our contacts are. We wrote to the government of India regarding the National Rural Employment Act of 1980, the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, the Sapurna Gramin Rozgar Yojana Act, by writing to them about our idea on how we publicize these acts so that it will help people get employed and help in achieving maximum employment. We reached out to the foundation called Asymmetry. The founder has created a non-profit organization which economically empowers the artisans of the Santhal tribe of West Bengal. Rural artisans lack the tools to spin their products in a viable business. We tend to use their skills, the skills provided by Asymmetry, by creating an online platform that helps showcase their talents so that we can sell their artwork and provide for better employment for everyone in every field possible.
Our motivation of Ruba Rural and the website based on it informs about the problems of heavy unemployment in rural areas and how we are trying to overcome them.
We've also launched a page on Instagram and have started to advertise it. We want to eventually put up videos promoting local rural culture like folklore, rural dances, and music. By linking a donation link to the same, it can become an additional source of income for the locals. What we hope to achieve through this platform is to give a voice to those without. Despite rural unemployment being so important in current times, a majority of our generation does not know much about it. We want to use this platform not only to bring about, but also to inspire change. Over to Bhavini.
In conclusion, I'd like to thank our counselors, Viv and Rohan, for bearing with us throughout, and Harvard YLC to provide us with an X factor to bring our vision to reality. Also, the project wouldn't have been successful without the cooperation of each and every one of us. And thank you all for listening to our proposition, and we hope that you'll support our cause and help us reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, team Rohan and Vivian. It was really good. Out of all the YLCs I've been a part of, rural unemployment is something has not been tackled before. So I'm glad that there's this new idea that you guys have come forward with, and hopefully would take it further. Over to the next team, team 8.
Amazing. Yeah, we're gonna hop over to Phil's, but again, so impressive that you guys are all doing this, remotely and with each other on Zoom and WhatsApp and all these groups. So with that, I think we're up to Phil, who'll be presenting his group.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone. My name is Phil Labram. I'm a rising senior at Harvard studying computer science and neuroscience. And I've been leading Group 8 for the past week. And yeah, I've just been so incredibly impressed by these group of kids. They came in, they were all individually very bright. And after a couple days of learning and working together, they've really formed, I think, a fantastic and cohesive unit. So without further ado, I want to hand it over to my group. Hopefully they should be unmuting and turning on their video. They're going to talk to us about e-waste.
There is no such thing as away. When we throw anything away, it must go somewhere. Good evening, everyone. We are the philanthropists, and we are here to pitch our project Eliminate, or as we like to call it, Eliminate. Now, we would be focusing on e-waste recycling in India, and we would be providing special emphasis on the informal sector.
What's e-waste? Electronic waste or e-waste describes discarded electrical or electronic devices. Burned motherboards, broken RAMs, overused computers that have nothing useful but metal casing and frames are some of the examples of e-waste.
The causes of e-waste generation as follows: upgradation and innovation in technology. People are often intimidated by the new and upcoming technology and software in the market, so they tend to buy the new gadgets and throw the old gadgets away. Second, lifestyle change. People want to stay up to date with their technology to show off their new Mac or foldable phone in the friend circle and tend to let go of old gadgets to buy new ones. Third, end of intended time of usage. The technology has done its job and thus it's thrown away, and the owner buys a new gadgets. So, fourth, disposers of e-waste are richer than the person who recycles the products. The disposers tend to have a lot of gadgets and throw the gadgets a lot of time, and the person who recycles it gets affected by the e-waste.
So let's see the difference between the informal and the formal sectors. Let's start with the informal sector. This sector involves scavenging in the dump yards and landfills which contain e-waste by the means that haven't been endorsed by the government. Is called as informal recycling. Now let's see what the formal sector is. Well, it is a sector where the government endorsed agencies and organizations do the collection, segregation, and the extraction of the e-waste all by themselves. So this so-called official method is what we call formal recycling.
All right, now comes the motivation of why we picked the informal sector. The informal sector, frankly speaking, does 95% of the work. And taking into account a fun fact that India generates almost 26,000 tons of e-waste a day, you do the math and you get the results. The informal recycling sector processes almost 10 to 20,000 tons of this e-waste in a day. And here's the crazy part about it. They don't even wear protective gear to do it.
And coming to our aim, everyone, it would be promoting efficiency in the informal e-waste sector by taking into account the both environmental and social aspects of their operations.
Okay, now coming to the problem that we want to solve, this comes in two varieties. The first one is the informal sector, and the second one is the formal sector. The informal sector does a pretty good job when compared to the formal sector of collection and segregation, and they take care to not hurt the environment. But the extraction, however, is where things get a little bit more complicated. They use low efficiency processes, so they are hurting themselves as well as the environment. The formal sector, however, has high investments to meet the environmental requirements, so that tends to be expensive to run and maintain. And they don't have enough material to process, they can't collect it enough. So what happens up in the end is they have extremely nice methods of extraction, but they're not having enough material to extract the extraction from. So Kriti, you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. To understand the solution that we are proposing, it is necessary to understand the framework of the current industry. The industry is divided into two sectors, the informal sector and the formal sector, and both of them carry out three activities, that is the collection, followed by the segregation and dismantling, and finally the extraction of resources from this waste. Now, the problem, as we discussed, is that while the informal sector is efficient enough in the collection and segregation of the resources, it uses poor technology, which actually causes the harm to the environment. So what we are proposing is that we consolidate both the formal and the informal sector in such a way that the first two techniques are carried out by the informal sector, and the third technique is carried out by the formal sector.
Hi everyone. So the solutions we propose are, firstly, we propose a mutual support system provided by the operations of the informal and formal sector. And this would really help achieve a balance between the labor-intensive operations and mechanized operations belonging to the informal and formal sector respectively. And this would need communication between the sectors, which would be eased by our website, and this will be explained in greater detail by Divya. And also, we would be using a consolidated model. Sorry, next slide. Yeah. Okay. I think we missed something out. That's okay. So yeah. So as mentioned before, the framework that we mentioned before being the consolidated model, which is collection, segregation, and primary dismantling of non-hazardous fractions by informal sector. And this cannot be stressed enough that it needs to be non-hazardous fractions. And then secondly, formal sector would be managing the high order processes such as, things using machinery. And then why are these measures important? Well, as you can see on the board, this will really help social welfare by reducing pollution, basically by reducing reducing e-waste pollution, and then better resource management since the formal and informal sector work more efficiently, creation of green jobs, jobs that help the environment, in this case through recycling. For example, people changing from formal to informal sector and new posts being created in the formal sector. And lastly, this model is shown to be ideal for developing countries. So the model aids economic development and social development and environmental development, which will be useful for India.
Now the question arises, how do we propose to carry out this consolidation? If we see the process, the disposers dispose of the e-waste. Now what we propose is that we will provide a website which will help connect the formal sector and the informal sector. The formal sector will collect the e-waste from the disposers and will further give it to the informal sector by having a contact with the network of those employees in the informal sector. Now here's the catch. The formal sector will provide some money to the disposers and they'll reimburse this money, and the disposers at their own will be given the option to donate this money for the informal sector's betterment. Now, after the informal sector carries out the collection and the segregation, as we discussed, it will go to the formal sector for the extraction with the better technology. And finally, we can continue with the other industrial processes that follow.
Now, the proposed framework will provide for two main advantages. First of all, it would connect the formal sector directly to the informal sector, and it would decrease environmental pollution because they can use the resources directly. Secondly, it would increase business for the informal sector because they would directly be providing the materials to the formal sector, and they would help in increasing their business.
Now, the second problem here is that the fines prohibitions imposed on the informal sector are hardly of use because most of the people from that sector do not have the resources to pay the fines. And it is also important to keep in mind that the majority of the e-waste comes from the disposers who are business corporations and which is mainly the electronics.
Now, how could we solve this issue? After doing some root cause analysis, we found that the main source of e-waste are the disposers or electronics industries. Now, instead of imposing a tax upon the collectors of e-waste or the recyclers, which are the informal sector, we should instead impose this tax on the disposers, right? And we should give them incentives for complying to restrictions on how to dispose e-waste. And the people who dispose this e-waste irresponsibly, some electronics industries as they do, will be fined accordingly. So this will give them incentives to promote better methods of disposal. Now, there is another major problem when it comes to the informal sector. There is a lack of organization, and because of this, they do not have a common voice of any sort. And hence, we cannot address or cooperate with the group as a whole. So to solve this, it would be best to create a sort of labor union which coalesces or gets all these informal sector workers together so that there can be more efficient communication of all these ideas about e-waste recycling, and also they can voice their opinions properly.
Now I'll be summing up the entire presentation in terms of problems and suggestions. In the informal sector, there is potential for recycling methods, but they aim for daily wages. They aim for their daily life and sustenance. Some suggestions from our group is the interaction and connection of the informal and formal sector. This may create an efficient and organized system. They must target niche markets to create a larger customer base rather than targeting the entire country. Moving on to the formal sector, conflict among local businesses causes a problem of confusion among people where they should donate their e-waste. And even there's a common myth that the formal sector has efficient methods and technology of production. However, they are very dangerous to the environment as well as the extractor. Metals like mercury and lead cause respiratory diseases, and almost 80% of India and 80% of the informal sector in India suffers from respiratory diseases due to e-waste. Some suggestions are here are investment in high technologies, as well as merging up of various businesses to create one whole business that targets the entire country. One such example, which is not mentioned commonly, that tackles the problem of e-waste is the Apple brand. They have a scheme where you can give away your old gadgets in return for a discount on your next purchase, and this is the best tactic for tackling e-waste, and it can be used by other tech companies too. Lastly, we as common public must keep and ensure that we do not make excessive purchases that are unnecessary, and we must make wise purchases. And our group mainly aims on spreading awareness on effects of improper disposal and where should they donate their waste.
To know more about our goal, you can contact us on Instagram where we have an account, or if you like Facebook more than Instagram, you can follow our page there too. Or if you like email more than Facebook or Instagram, you can contact us there too at contacteliminate@gmail.com. And here's a tiny video showing how we may have contributed to this change and how it's supposed to be done. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you for giving your time and listening to us. That's it. The next group can continue.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad that you guys brought the sort of TikTok energy out there. We were talking, for those of you on the live stream, about making videos that made use of Zoom to do fun things. So it's pretty cool that we got at least some groups to do that. Hopefully we'll have more chances. With that, we're going to pass it over to group 7, which is Michael Raji's group.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Raji. I'm a rising junior at the college. I just want to say how absolutely proud I am of this group, and I'm proud of two things. I'm proud of the really crazy and out there, and impressive and world-moving ideas that they presented, but I'm even more proud of the incredible deference and respect that these guys and girls showed for each other throughout this conference. I know they had so many ideas that they really wanted to get out there, but it was just so heartening for me to see them step back and hear each other's ideas, to collaborate. And the project they end up coming up with is something that I'm really passionate about. And I think you guys will be too after listening to it. And so the floor is all theirs, and I'm really excited to hear it with the rest of you guys.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's a great day to be with all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the word echo in the English language symbolizes collaboration. You speak out and you hear those words back, which is similar to how, as our society enriches us, it becomes sort of our obvious duty to give something in return. Our program is founded on this very idea, an initiative which aims to cultivate the beautiful ability of being a masterful orator and a self-developed member of the community, the ECHO program, to speak and to be heard. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Anushka Singh to talk about our shared vision.
Why cultivate public speaking skills? Public speaking and career prospects. As we know that public speaking is a very important skill for the careers that we choose to pursue. Our group took a survey to see whether getting better at public speaking would strengthen the prospects of our chosen careers. As a result of our survey, we received a response in which 84% of people voted yes. College graduates confirm that public speaking is the most important skill for career improvement. Public speaking also instills overall confidence in us, which goes a long way into any profession. Career-based survey report. Our group took another survey in which people were supposed to choose any 3 professions that they were interested in working towards. Our results concluded that 123 people chose careers that needed the skill of public speaking and the others only 40 times. This proves that students need to develop public speaking skills to prosper in their choice of career. This is exactly what ECHO will help you do. Now I would like to pass it on to Harold.
So, do we really know the benefits of public speaking? The benefits of public speaking go well and beyond just increasing confidence and succeeding in college. But as the graph shows here, most of you do not know the underlying benefits. The responses are a clear example of how the educational institutions only focus on career related benefits of public speaking other than focusing on the ones that help you succeed in life. Once you develop the skills of public speaking, your spectrum of intelligence increases. You tend to become more linguistic, spatial, develop logical, mathematical reasoning, and are able to relate to your natural surroundings. That is, you become a naturalist. These skills developed help not only get better grades and succeed in colleges, but motivates change, influences decisions, and forms connections. Over to Aryaman Singh.
What you all have to say about these surveys. As all of you have seen in the previous slide, we have conducted many surveys through social media, and the next slide, we have some of the integral questions that are displayed. Now let us look at the statistics for the first pie chart. From what we know about confidence, it is an emotion, a feeling of certainty about handling something. According to these answers, 40% of people consider themselves to be confident and 60% do not. However, in the very next question, we have asked the people if they want to increase the level of their current confidence. The results speak for themselves, as 98% of people want to increase their level of confidence. This essentially means that the people are not satisfied with their control over handling something with absolute certainty. In the next slide, there's another question which is linked with the previous questions. The question states whether the people are willing to invest time in these activities to hone their skills with public speaking. And 90% of people are more than willing to do so. And this proves that a program will surely work.
Now, Sanjana will talk about the myths, the meaning, and the truth.
Sanjana, you're on mute.
The myths, the meaning, the truth. According to our survey, 70% of people are only aware of a more daunting and essentially incorrect definition of public speaking. To understand what it really means, we must go back a couple thousand years to Aristotle and his 3 original rules of public speaking: ethos, pathos, and logos, each meaning credibility, communicability, and logic. So to sum it up, public speaking is essentially an art of effectively communicating logical and credible information to an audience. Now, two other major myths are that strong public speaking skill is an innate quality and that fear of public speaking is actually a sign of an inadequacy, both of which are totally incorrect. So now that you have the correct information, you must encourage yourself to learn public speaking because it is not an untouchable virtue privy to only those people who are born with it, but something that is much simpler and that all of us can practice and eventually master. Now, Aryaman Gupta, why don't you jump in?
A successful life. For each of us, a successful life has a different meaning. But some things will always be in common for all of us. Like we all want to make an impact for this world. And in the end, we all work towards making this change. We all want a less anxious life since, even though it's normal, anxiety is one of the most common problems that people suffer. But we can come forward with the help of our ECHO program, as we will help people recover from these problems on which we will elaborate further on. In the end, we all need to know how to form new bonds and allies, but we need to overcome the fear of change. Most of us are comfortable with that, but many of us suffer from that problem. In fact, at a point, I was scared too. But our program will help you get the chance to speak and open up. And in the end, we will be leaders, since it is one of the most important part of living a successful life. And the ECHO program is more than willing to help you achieve that. Now back to Sanjana.
Now let's broaden our perspective for a small while and have a look at the bigger picture. So you start off with poor public speaking skills, which in itself is not a problem, but it becomes a problem when you don't do anything to treat it. Then what comes next is the belief that public speaking is innate, and you can couple that up with our ignorance regarding the other non-career based benefits of public speaking. What comes next is the development of the irrational fear of public speaking, which I'm sure some of us here are familiar with. What comes next is inadequacies at work, at school, in colleges, and also in dealing with real life problems. And then comes the big problem, that is a stunted development of the Indian youth and economy. Now that we see the whole problem in front of us, the whole picture, wouldn't it be easier to tackle the problem at its very root? So, let's take our apprehensions, our fears, our insecurities, and use it as fuel to learn a skill like public speaking that is so integral and so life-changing. So, let's not let that chain reaction unravel, and let us ask ourselves that famous question: if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? Over to you, Rhea.
Now, let's take a quick flashback to the times when students went to school instead of Zoom. Now, in a class, we usually see two kinds of people: the extroverts who constantly engage in debates and discussions. And on the other hand, we have the ones who choose to stay quiet. Research says that children as young as 13 suffer from social anxiety and hence fear public speaking, while schools and institutions encourage students who are hesitant to speak in front of a large audience. The goal isn't achieved, as the environment they are trying to be uplifted in is the one where they were lowered. Hence, what we require, ladies and gentlemen, is a brand new, innovative, safe space for the ones who fear public speaking and help them overcome it. Over to you, Hero.
So, our mission statement. It is a known fact that everything we do has a competitive spirit attached to it. Everyone has the mindset to do better than others. But what we don't realize is that in trying to win and to be better than others, we often compromise on fun and quality of content. So, what is our mission statement? We have decided to create a non competitive approach to our program. Our program is not a type of course that you complete, earn a certificate, and become an expert in public speaking. Rather, it is a forum for youth to openly speak their thoughts and opinions. Everyone has their own skills and talents. We at ECHO wish to help you along the process of self discovery and help you succeed. Over to Sanya.
So I would like to talk about the model that we have for our program, the ECHO program. The aim is to build a platform where teenagers can practice their public speaking and critical thinking skills and get feedback from others. This will be extremely helpful for kids who don't receive opportunities to take part in such events from school. The community which will develop over this website will be a trial audience for these kids. They can test out their skills here. Now, there will be two kinds of activities that will be taking place on this forum: public speaking and critical thinking. For public speaking, every 2 weeks we will release a topic. People can record audio or video and speak about the topic on whatever stance they wish to, for, against, neutral, their choice. The recording will stay up there for 2 weeks till the next topic comes along. During this time, people can leave comments and feedback on the page on how they can improve upon these skills. Now over to Arif.
For critical thinking, every 2 weeks we will put up a real life problem. Basic dilemmas people face every day about making tough decisions, big or small. I'm personally very excited about this, as most of us look for someone to discuss our issues with. And what better thing than discussing them with your peer group, who possibly have gone through those problems sometime or the other in their life. People can leave comments on how they solve that problem. Others can share their real life experiences too. They can leave audios or videos, whatever they are comfortable with. These situations won't have a right or wrong answer. They are merely opinions, but we are very sure it will most likely give you all an idea about the topic being discussed. The main idea behind all this is to get all thinking and get a debate going. Back to Sanya.
In addition to these activities, there will be supplementary material on our website in the form of presentations, videos, etc., which can guide these young individuals on how to improve their public speaking and critical thinking skills. We will also provide information about the various competitions and events taking place, which requires these skills, so that our users can take what they have gained from their experience with us and apply it to the world at large. Now over to Sahaj.
Thanks, Anya. Proper feedback and guidance. Feedback promotes personal and professional growth. It provides positive criticism and allows to see what everyone needs to change to improve their focus and results. It brings people together and creates a healthy communication flow. Giving feedback is an opportunity to get things out in the open so that issues can be resolved and can find ways to work together. No pressure to be perfect. We will do our best to make you reach your capabilities and not set a common bar for you to achieve. Only positive feedback from your peers. The instructors will pass feedback for the betterment of your public speaking skills and not a general ideal. Zero tolerance for hate content. Negativity is something that brings you down. The moral of the speaker brings down the moral of the speaker so much that the actions will not be tolerated by our community. Every task is dynamic. Each task is designed and fabricated to make you reach the pinnacle of your public speaking skills. Over to a good friend of mine, Farhan.
Thanks, Sahaj. Now, guys, any good personality development platform needs a mechanism to encourage good work and keep the participants motivated to put in more hard work. Now, with this aim in mind, the ECHO program has devised a system wherein participants who post 5 audios or videos or more will be awarded an e-certificate. More e-certificates will be awarded to the participants on crossing certain thresholds of content posting. For example, they'll be awarded e-certificates when they post 15 audios or videos, 30 audios or videos, and so on. Now, those people whose feedbacks will garner a lot many likes, reflecting that others agree with the feedback, will be given e-certificates for engaging in social service. So, for example, there'll be, for example, 10 feedbacks that have crossed a threshold of 100 likes, or 20 good feedbacks that have crossed that have crossed a threshold of 100 likes, will be given e-certificates as well. Now, this in particular will be attractive to experienced debaters who wish to earn social service engagement certificates in order to put them in their college applications to show how passionate they are about public speaking and debating, and willing to improve others as well. Onwards to Sakshi.
Our future vision. We at the ECHO program believe that a clear vision helps you pursue dreams and achieve goals. A vision that is clear will open your mind to the endless possibilities of the future. A vision helps you overcome obstacles in the way and helps you hold on when times are tough. And so we present to you our future goals.
Thanks, Sakshi. Now, we recognize that this project is currently fit to target only students who attend well to do schools, having opportunities for public speaking, for example, a debating society at their school, or people who have a stable internet connection. But we also know that there is a vast inequality in the access to opportunities and Wi Fi availability in India. And thus, we aim to expand our reach to include underprivileged children in rural and suburban areas, conducting workshops and activities in collaboration with NGOs in a post COVID 19 world. Secondly, the original problem that we had sought to address was the sheer amount of discouragement and demotivation that students in India have to face while pursuing extracurricular activities as opposed to preparing for some standardized tests. But keeping in mind the smart analysis that we learned here at the YLC, we limited ourselves to focus on public speaking. But we are sure that with the passage of time, we will be able to expand to include other extracurricular activities as well. For example, fine arts, the performing arts, giving art students, dance students, music students a similar platform. Tanish, you have the podium now.
Okay, thanks a lot, Farhan. So, guys, I agree with what Mr. Yoda has to say here. You're most welcome to be a part of this community. It's about community building and sharing our ideology of changing the world. However small steps we can take, that is the better. And that is pretty much it, folks. Thank you for your time and patience. Thank you for YLC, Rishi sir, and especially our counselor, Michael. Thank you for your efforts and your commitment. And yeah, may the force be always with you.
Thanks so much, guys. That was a wonderful presentation. I had a chance to sit in some conversations, and it was so great to sort of see the final product. And so now I have the really distinct and great honor to introduce Group 6, which is Jenny's group. Jenny is unfortunately not here. She actually works at a hospital, so she's doing some really great work right now, and obviously, as a result, can't be on the call. But I've been texting with her, and she's been so excited to sort of see you guys grow. I'm lucky to have also been sitting into some of her conversations in project groups. And, just looking at your presentation, I just am so amazed by what you guys have to offer. And so without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Group 6, Jenny Gan's group, to talk about Project Elixir.
Awesome. So let me start with a story. A couple of weeks ago, I was conversing with a random stranger on the internet. Let's call him John. Now, John was a Caribbean high school freshman in the United States. Our conversation lasted for long, and he went on to tell me about how his peers persistently called him out because of his dark complexion and his thick accent. Constant bullying over this coded racism had driven John into a state of mental sickness. But every time he tried to talk about it, people around him pretended like it didn't exist. In the following days, I conversed with plenty of similar people and began to realize how there is absolutely no platform for people to actually talk about such stigmatized issues. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Team 6, and we're here to present Project Elixir.
Matters being stigmatized due to the portrayal of ideas in sacred scriptures that are followed by numerous cultures and traditions, especially in India. Now, due to this, there are not enough social platforms to liberally promote ideas that are progressive in nature. Now, you must be thinking, why Project Elixir? Elixir is an age-old healing potion, and our aim will be to heal the scars of the people that have uh, faced problems due to these stigmatized issues.
Now, when we talk about the causes due to which these problems are not being addressed, is first and mainly due to the barriers surrounding these topics, which includes the stigma, lack of resources, and knowledge about these issues. Second, the closed mindset of people who don't support the ideas and are more interested in proving those ideas wrong. Closed-minded people are more interested in proving themselves right than in getting the best outcome. Third, and the most important, is fear of not being accepted by the people in the so-called Indian society, not matching their standards, and eventually this fear of acceptance corners their ideas and fades the their will to raise their voices against these issues.
As you can see from the screen, we conducted a survey among our peers using Google Forms to understand more about what these people think of these stigmatized issues. 75 people responded to the survey, and 90% of them wanted to speak up. 68 people want to share their experiences and let go of the pain. But unfortunately, everyone said that there are absolutely no platform to do so.
So after analyzing the root causes of these stigmatized issues, we realized that it basically was the lack of awareness and the lack of support that led to such horrific problems to arise. And soon Project Elixir was created. The team recognized that on top of encouraging people to provide support and teach you how to accept what you're going through and deal with your health, surround yourself with positivity, and especially value yourself, we knew that we needed to create a platform that will facilitate discussion on these stigmatized issues. Having a platform that spreads awareness about these issues lets people open up and write blogs and even contact us anonymously for any questions would benefit the society. We plan to have various stigmatized issues be highlighted individually every month to lay a special emphasis on a specific issue as well.
Whoever's going next, maybe your mic is muted.
At Project Elixir, we intend to spread awareness in several different ways. We have started with posting blogs as well as poems, and then we will go on to tweets. Furthermore, we will be using Instagram and our website to live stream and talk about several stigmatized issues. And for those who wish to speak on these issues but don't have a platform, we will be having podcasts to spread awareness. Moreover, we will also be connecting people who are facing the same kind of issues to talk about it completely anonymously. And we will also be planning anonymous one-on-one programs where we will be connecting psychologists and people facing poor mental health.
Currently, the involved cost of our project is $0. That is because the team itself is bringing diverse talents to the table to kickstart the project. Once we have the proof of concept up and running, we will measure the impact of the project and see how successful the project is overall. In the future, we will approach sponsors, and the money that we get from that will be used for our future events and research. The best part about the project is that our target audience will be people from all over the world, different countries, races, gender, and age groups, which will give us a deep and unique insight to stigmatized issues that are similar and different in multiple countries.
Hello, everyone. At Project Elixir, we believe in the power of dialogue. Our main aim is to provide a voice to taboo and stigmatized concerns of society. Here is a list of issues we intend to discuss on a monthly basis: mental health, substance abuse, gender inequality, police brutality. We realize that these are broad-ranging issues. So, the timeline of 1 month allows us to look at each topic from different angles and express a multitude of voices. For example, in gender inequality, we intend to discuss gender pay gap, marital rape, and domestic violence, amongst others. Such stigmatized issues are at the heart of many global problems. Thus, at Project Elixir, we believe that they require ample scope to be discussed and resolved.
The past week, we've had the fantastic opportunity to work on the execution of our project and reaching out to our target audience. We have developed a website which will be used as our main tool to spread awareness about our cause. We have begun receiving articles and poems written by candidates. Furthermore, we have also activated our social media handles, including Instagram and Twitter, where we've begun posting and expanding our public outreach. We have conversed with Harvard nutritionist Kripa Jalan and our YLC counselors who have been able to guide us on how to take our project forward and make it more accessible to the public.
Awesome. Now I'd like to take a moment here to take a look at our blog, which was created within the past 2 to 3 days. So the Project Elixir blog basically encompasses everything that we're looking to cover. There is, of course, an about section, and this is our landing page. Every month, we're going to have one highlight issue. For instance, this time it's racism. So in this kind of a scenario, all podcasts, blog posts, and similar things talk about racism. Similarly, moving on, we have a video channel in which people will be able to upload the videos that they've prepared on specific issues. Now, out here, we also have access to our blog. Um, Luckily, we've already had 6 blog posts published, and we've had at least 20 interested authors already confront us, and they really wish to take some action about this. Similarly, we offer various other things that interested people can do, which get covered here. We've also developed a chat bot which is consistently monitored by all of us, and at any point of time, if someone wants to reach out, they not only have a contact us section, but also this chatbot out here.
Our future plans. We, as Project Elixir, are planning to expand our project to new platforms like Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and especially YouTube. This is to spread awareness among the rural population in India through Hindi and various regional languages during these COVID times. Secondly, we would like to collaborate with like-minded organizations to expand our purview and get experts on these situations to talk on our podcast. Lastly, we will organize meetups and community with the community and organizers to reflect on these speeches which happened during the past months and highlight on the keynotes for the future months.
What can you do as concerned citizens? Well, you can freely speak up about whatever your ideas, opinions, and views are regarding these stigmatized issues. You can spread awareness about such stigmatized issues within your community so that people are actually aware about these issues. Then you can promote similar initiatives that give everyone a platform to actually freely discuss all about these issues.
Throughout our lifetime, we have been told multiple times mental health isn't real. Pay gap is just a scam, amongst many others. However, it was heartening to see that more than 90% people want to talk about these issues, but none of them had a medium to talk to. Through Project Elixir, our main aim is to not only spread awareness on these issues, but to also provide a medium to build conversation on these issues so that people can express and act. So the next time someone around you seems to be distressed or depressed or just behaves oddly, reach out and talk to them. Because sometimes all we need is someone to talk to us and listen to us. And through this bit, you can truly contribute to make this world a better place. Thank you all. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Rishi, Ishan, and all the other counselors for this great experience.
Amazing job, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Team Elixir. I mean, I just wanted to say to, again, all the parents to just realize, I know that Jenny's team actually had the least amount of counseling done and sort of course correction done. And this entire project was really taken up by the students and moved forward. So it just goes to show you that, you know, you do not really always need someone to be there who's sort of older and to course correct you, that, you know, you again can lead the change just by yourselves, just good group of individual kids. So I'm so happy, you know, with this entire project. And also, this is the time just to acknowledge that we're done. We are halfway. Again, I know that we are in a delay, but hopefully the energy out here, I can tell you at the YLC Zoom conference is really high. Maybe we could do one yo, what's up by Aisha for all the students to still have the energy, and then, you know, move on to the second phase of our presentation.
That would be awesome.
That would be my honor to lead. Fantastic work, everyone. So parents, if you're watching, you can join in, follow your kids' lead. Ready? Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what's up?
What's up? All mics, I want them off. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo,
What's
up? Are you in Canada? Like,
yo, what's
all
up?
the way across the world. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo,
what's up?
What's up? Amazing.
That was
Great
a good
work,
one.
everyone.
That might be our best one so
Yo,
far.
what's up?
For all those who are watching the live stream, this is a little YLC tradition that we've been using to get our attention, but these students have been so good, and also we have the ability to mute them now that we don't have to worry about that, but it's still such a great part of our YLC community. Yeah, great job, guys. With this, we're going to move on to group 5, which is Team 5, John Luke's group.
Yeah, so hi, everyone who's watching. My name is Jean-Luc. I'm a rising junior at Harvard. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I study applied math and economics. Today, I just have the utmost pleasure of introducing Team Full Stop. I don't want to give away too much about their presentation, but I can definitely tell you how much every single one of these kids has impressed me so much throughout the week. I've been inspired by their growth and confidence, ability to like seamlessly form connections with each other and collaborate and do this all online, as well as the desire to really dive deep into their social change project and take on like such an important and meaningful challenge. So I'm really excited for this presentation. You all should be. Without further ado, I'll pass it off to Team Full Stop.
Phew, first time for me on the big screen, huh? Let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashwarya Pandey, and today I'll be opening on the behalf of Team TBA, Group 5. Allow me to extend a warm and courteous welcome to you all, and a special mention to our beloved counselor, Jean-Luc. Let us now get started with the full stop. Now, what's the problem that we're dealing with? Or rather, what's the bloody problem? Although a natural process occurring in almost half of the world's population, you're likely to only ever hear this word in a hushed or chastened tone, especially in India. Periods. Let me now allow my friend Dia to take it onward from here. Dia, floor is all yours.
You ever asked yourself why in India 23 million girls drop out of school annually as they start menstruating? Ever realized that only 18% of women have access to sanitary products? And ever pondered on why 1 lakh women in India died of cervical cancer? The problem is real. Now we will emphasize on the root cause. DJ, the floor is yours.
Menstrual hygiene hadn't really been mapped as an issue or a problem. There was no real problem statement and there were no real solutions for the vast majority of women who are at the bottom of the pyramid. A lack of awareness leads to girls having no prior information about periods before they experience them for the first time. Studies indicate that 71% of adolescent girls remain unaware of menstruation until their first menstrual cycle. Also, owing to a lack of awareness, they do not prioritize it as an essential health need. Even when we talk about affordability, the big question is about relevance. Mothers and daughters think that a sanitary pad is a good to have rather than a necessity. As a result, household spending on essential menstrual hygiene is just a small fraction of what is spent on other items, such as cosmetics. To draw your attention on SACRA, I would like to pass it on to 2 amazing people, Ananya and Anvi.
From one aspect, the woman who may not be approached is inviolable and holy. From another aspect, she is polluted and unclean. She is what the Romans would call sacra. This dualism is very implicit in a woman's social position. We're celebrating fertility while simultaneously stigmatizing everything that entails fertility. This has unimpeded the possibility of having open, truthful, and honest conversations about menstrual health. Historically, menstruation wasn't always considered as dirty and impure as a bodily function. But this menstrual taboo is rooted in a very revered Hindu mythology text called the Rig Veda, which denounces a woman in her course as impure. And the consequence of this ancestral ideology has been passed down and warped through generations. And it is still biting women in the uterus to this present day. Anvi, the floor is yours.
Religious restrictions on menstruation are often associated with evil spirits, leading to shame and embarrassment regarding the issue of social reproduction. And hence, some women even go so far as to burying their own clothes to protect themselves from these evil beings. Blood released during chums is believed to be dangerous to a person, putting them at risk of harm by black magic. Some also believe that a woman can force a man to act according to her will while she is menstruating. So let me catch you up with the reality, the current situation. In parts of Asia, including India, such beliefs are still sadly followed and enforced, even though there is no logic or scientific explanation that justifies them. Over to Adit now.
Now, coming to the stigma, which most women are victimized to. Menstruation is considered impure and dirty in rural parts of India. There are many religious myths regarding menstruation, which are given below. Menstruating women aren't allowed to touch sour foods like pickles, as it is believed that their bodies would emit odor that will turn food items bad. During the menstruating period, they are isolated and they're kept in the corner of the house by themselves. Many girls and women are subject to restrictions in their daily lives simply because they are menstruating. Not entering the puja, which is the praying room, is one of the major restrictions among urban girls, whereas not entering the kitchen is the main restriction among the rural girls during menstruation. Men in rural areas do not give importance to female hygiene. However, this is not only limited to men, but women also have a say in this. They just perceive this as a ladkiyon wali bimari. Now, we will be discussing the effects of poor menstrual health. Vishnu, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Adit. Now that we have got an idea about the problem of poor menstrual health and its root causes, let's discuss its effects. To be honest, there are so many effects of this problem that all of them couldn't be put on one slide. Poor menstrual hygiene can lead to issues such as fungal or bacterial infections of the reproductive tract and the urinary tract. Another startling impact is cancer. Yes, you heard me right. It's cancer.
That was a lovely
Cervical cancer cases are rapidly increasing in India. This is due to the poor menstrual habits which women use. A survey done by the WHO in 2018 says that cervical cancer cases are almost 8.4% of all cancer cases in India. To put that in perspective, that's almost comparable to lung and oral cancer. There are also other effects of poor menstrual hygiene which are not related to health, but are important nonetheless. 23 million women drop out of school every year when they start menstruating. And women daily wage workers lose a day's wage on the day of their periods. I'll now pass it on to Jayant, who's going to be talking about a rather unique problem which has arisen due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
So, hopping on to the aspects of this problem in the current situation of COVID. Do you by any chance know that women doctors have two washroom?
Also, guys, I feel like advertising on what if they mainly focusing on periods, we do not emphasize all periods. We spoke about gender menstrual hygiene. We're not saying we spoke about PCOS. We spoke about other problems that happen with menstrual hygiene. Even though
Hey, could you come closer to the mic, whoever's speaking?
So I think it's like saying that assume hypothetically that we are getting mental health and another group, another group getting mental health, but
Hey, Sakshi, so sorry that you got put on mute, but could you just come closer to the mic? We could not hear what you were saying.
Hi, Rishi sir. I think we have got the problem solved because, it's Zoom. Problems do happen. So periods are obviously a problem, just like this. Let's continue.
Sure.
One problem which we recently faced is COVID-19. And the bigger problem is what our women medical professionals are facing. Our women doctors are fighting two wars, the pandemic and their menstrual hygiene. The PPEs which are currently given to these professionals are designed for preventing its wearer from getting infected. But there's one sad fact. They are not designed keeping the women medical professionals' menstrual hygiene in mind. Most women doctors and nurses are forced to undergo bleeding in their PPEs itself. This is due to the limited availability of PPEs in India. So when we are thinking about the COVID-19 pandemic from here on, let us remember that India's women doctors and nurses are really the true warriors of our fight against COVID-19. I'd like to pass on the floor to the next speaker. Suryaja, the floor is yours.
Okay, so we have about 5 solutions that we came up with. So we're willing to implement these solutions to a problem. So I'm going to talk about 3 of them, and Sia is going to talk about the other 2 ones. So the first one includes low-cost sanitary napkins that will be locally made and distributed, majorly in rural and slum areas. The second solution that we came up with is menstruation hygiene management training in every part of India. This increases the awareness and also makes people more open about the idea. The third solution was providing of clean washrooms with lights and sanitary napkins installed. This decreases the health-related effects and also stops the embarrassment that women go through. Sia, the floor is yours.
Group 5 का है, हमारा group 1 का है.
So one of the other solutions is that we will raise funds for the program. We will raise funds for the program in our local communities and try getting a tie-up with a company and sell pads at a lower cost. We will be doing this in the following months. Also, we could be providing safely treated water supply, which is connected to each household. Gargi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Let's talk periods. We would be raising funds over the next few months in our local areas and our nearest districts. We also decided to make a social media account for crowdfunding and use these funds to set up pad dispensaries in districts of cities, towns, and villages that will provide better facilities and improve accessibility of sanitary pads and tampons in rural and urban areas. After completion of our encouraging YLC 2020 conference, we would be in touch with each other and hold weekly meetings to keep up check on our progress. During this pandemic, we consider internet as our vital source to stay in touch with each other. So we will also be creating an Instagram account, namely Full Stop Drop account, and a YouTube channel for our very own team and our loving family, Team Full Stop. We would also like to have YouTube live stream to promote the benefits of using proper sanitary products and how can a menstruating person take a better care of themselves and why is it really necessary. Primary care physicians are often the ones to be first approached for the diagnosis of menstrual problems. Hence, we will contact the professionals and work with them, with the local physicians, to inform and encourage young adolescent girls about the significance and the use of sanitary pads and tampons. As adults or as parents themselves, we hope they will be helping us to make the social impact we want. The necessary information of menstruation are often not conveyed or discussed in our society today, and this results in the cultural taboos. We know that our joint effort will definitely bring a prominent change to our society. Thank you very much. I would like to pass on the floor to my companion, Aditya.
₹2. Only ₹2. Giving woman 2 months extra life. Yes. Say, you know how? I will explain. 5 days every month. 5 days every month, woman sitting outside house, doing nothing. 5 into 12 equal to 60. 1 year, 60 days, 2 months waste. Woman wearing pad meaning 2 months life extra. Why for man 12 months here, but woman only 10 months? Why? Bloody men. Half hour man bleeding like woman, they straight die.
So that was a video from the famous movie Padman, which was acted by Akshay Kumar, which was a speech of which was his speech in the UN about the importance and the significance of pads in the daily life of a woman. Now we will have Aishwarya closing.
It was sure a lovely and informative clip, which sadly brings us to the end of our presentation. I would like to finally conclude by saying a few true words quoted by the renowned poet Maya Angelou. When women take care of their health, they become their best friend. And I'm sure we can all agree to this. Thank you, everyone, and a grateful shout out to the Harvard YLC team.
Great job. Thanks, guys. Thanks, John Luke's team, Team 5. And we're going to move right over to Team 4, led by Ethan Key.
Yeah, great presentation so far. This has been really a pleasure to listen to all of these. My name's Ethan. I just finished my first year at Harvard, where I'm studying psychology and art history. This is my first YLC conference, so I'm a newcomer to this group. And while it's been maybe an unorthodox introduction to YLC for me and for all of the kids, it's been such a joy to interact with all the students here, and especially their brilliant thoughts and ideas. This group in particular, who I had the pleasure of introducing, Team 4, or as they refer to themselves as facepalm culture, they've done a tremendous job adapting to these virtual conditions. They're a group of strong and energetic personalities who very early on realized that they were unified by this great love for art and creativity and visual design, as will be evident in their presentation. And to merely be an observer to their discussions and their brainstorming was an absolute treat. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to them in their presentation.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, good morning, whatever you are. So we're going to actually hop into our presentation right now. But I'm not going to introduce who we are. We're going to hop into a question by Bjorn.
Hi guys. So my main question is, what did everyone do during the lockdown? Please put it down in the chat.
And for the parents out there as well, please feel free to comment on while these questions are going on. Feel free to comment on the YouTube link as well, and we'll be happy.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we can see from the results, that most people pursued some hobbies which they couldn't do normally, right? And most of these gave them immense pleasure and satisfaction. And most of these could include singing, dancing, and painting. But at the end of the day, what are these? These are all various forms of art.
Hi, okay. So I wanted to indulge everybody in a quote by an artist called Henry Matisse. He said, "Creativity takes courage." And I want to let that sink in for a moment. Creativity takes courage. I don't think that there's a better example for this quote than our very own India. In the middle of 10th grade, students are asked to pick between science, commerce, and humanities. And the fact that humanities is so tabooed in India is honestly very disheartening. The fact that some parents think that humanities is an easy way out, or that if their sons and daughters don't become doctors, lawyers, or engineers, that they're gonna amount nowhere in life, it's kind of depressing. And to prove my point, we actually took, okay, I'm sorry, our presentation actually went through some technical difficulties, but we took a poll, and what we found out is that parents prefer their kids to take science over any other subject. And now, who am I and why am I telling you so much about art? Well, I hope this can answer your question.
Hi, I'm Nihar Ketchal. Hey, I'm Romesh.
Hi.
I'm Snema.
Hi, I'm Nasha Tandil.
I'm Ethan.
Hi, my name is Dion Goel. Hey, I'm Sanjana. Hi, my name is Alia.
Hi, I'm Deep.
Hi, I'm Anishka Agarwal.
So we are the Face Culture and we present to you Project Ally.
So what is Ale? So Ale in Tamil means wave of bliss, which is further modified to art. We had our organization named Ale because we are here to spread waves of happiness through art, further on enabling people to express themselves. Through Ale, we try to promote education and spread awareness about the importance of art among various age groups, including the underprivileged.
So as you can see here in this pie graph, that 75% of college students chose a degree in humanities and arts, whereas only 25% of college students chose others like sciences, commerce, etc. And if you go to the next slide, we can see that as proven by our statistics, that more than 69% of children's creativity has been blocked by their parents because of lack of awareness. And in the second graph, we saw how there are 75% of students in Mumbai itself who want to choose arts and humanities as a degree in their future.
All right. Hi, guys. So we're going to do a bit of an experiment, a bit of an activity, and I need you all to work with me here. I want you all to quickly put into the chat box what art means to you. What is art in your opinion? Fashion, I'm seeing culture. I'm seeing creativity. I'm seeing a lot of expression. Art is expression. Art is love. I'm seeing a lot of positivity here. All right, and now I want you to type into the chat box what your parents look at the subject of art as. If your parents have ever discouraged you from pursuing what you want to, if your parents have ever, or if society in general has ever talked about art in a negative light, I want you to put it all in the chat box. I'm seeing no job prospects. I'm seeing wasting my time. It's futile. I'm seeing a lot of negativity. So this really shows the discrepancies that in what art means to us as a younger generation and what art means to our parents. This goes to show that in Indian society, art isn't looked at as a universal language. Art isn't looked at as a way of connecting beautiful souls around the world. Art is looked at as a liability. Art is looked at as an embarrassment and as a last choice for someone who wasn't smart enough to conform to societal expectations of the ideal career. The next slide, please. So this is our definition of art. We define art as a free flow of emotions resulting in a beautiful amalgamation of thoughts, ideas, and happiness. We recognize that art is a universal language and it connects all of humanity through happiness and through the expression of emotions.
So, why should someone take art as a career, future career? A career in art is not limited to being a painter of a canvas that gets framed and sold in gallery. Behind every piece of art which you see in newspaper, magazine, books, or poster or leaflet, there is a graphic artist or a commercial artist putting illustrator in it. There are graphic artists putting magazines together and illustrators drawing the cartoons and graphics. There are also website designer, designer artists. You know, computers don't draw graphics themselves. They are just a tool, a modern version of the paintbrush, and animations for films and television. There are computer gamer designers and also people teaching art and art therapy, mural paintings and face paintings, and also tattoo artists. And if you think more broadly about the career options, there are photography, landscape design, interior design, farming, textile. cloth design, furniture and lighting design, architecture, and list can go on. Now let's see on the problems what we face in the field of art.
So, what exactly is the problem? Well, for starters, there are many myths about careers in art. For instance, many parents believe that art won't provide their children with a stable employment in the future, and they also believe that it's very difficult for their children to succeed in this field. However, in reality, most artists are very happy as they have greater job satisfaction. So there are so many young people out there who are so creative and who are interested in a variety of forms of art. However, there is no one sole platform which is dedicated to them. And our organization aims to change that.
So, what are the steps we are going to take to progress to our major goal? So, the aim is to create a website which could perform dual functions uh, as a platform to promote art. The first function will be hosting webinars, which will be given by experts in different fields of art, as well as students studying currently with arts as a major. This will in turn create awareness about opportunities in the field of art. A nominal fee would be charged for the viewers as a fundraiser. And also, we are promoting young artists by allowing them to create a platform where they can sell their paintings, digital creations, and web designs, which would like give them a give them uh, give them economic stability, which would in turn help them to pursue art as a career.
So now let's look at some specific details about the goal that we as a team want to achieve. The Project Ally specifically focuses on creating awareness among the society for recognition of art humanities as a potential career for the children, supporting underprivileged kids who take deep interest in various forms of art. One measurable goal that we would like to achieve with your help and support is to help underprivileged kids to pursue their hobbies and continue their education. Attainable goals Our attainable goals includes to sell artworks made by young artists to raise funds for the supported NGOs. Realistically speaking, we want to conduct awareness-based webinars for parents of young artists. As we all know, goal is a dream, but with a deadline. And so, over the next 2 years, we plan to conduct over 25 webinars with young artists and help them find the right career option. Also, we estimate to raise around 1 lakh rupees by the end of this career for the supported NGOs.
So, who is our target audience? This table summarizes our target audience. So, our objective at LA is to specifically target the youth who are interested in pursuing a creative career such as the art or design. So, we wish to provide guidance to these budding artists by aiding them in understanding as well as developing their skills. And we also want to discover and encourage young artists to donate their work for sale and also and give them the confidence to release their artwork for everyone to see and buy. And moreover, our objective is to target the parents of young artists who are skeptical about the art stream. So we wish to bust some major myths about the future prospects in art and design, and we hope that parents become more accepting of their child who wishes to pursue a career in art. In art, and yeah. To phrase it simply, our goal is to educate and spread awareness about the limitless possibilities in art or a design-related career.
So our action plan, which sums up everything that we are going to do as Ally. First, there are two main steps which we are going to take. One, we create awareness. We create awareness about the several career options in the field of art, and we will also be supporting young artists to sell their artwork. And secondly, we are going to help our community by raising funds for them, especially underprivileged children, to help them with their hobbies and their education.
So, where will the funds go? Well, something we all share in common is the thirst to empower and educate children who don't have facilities like us. So after a lot of thought, we have decided to donate to these NGOs and help them in achieving their goal. First, educating 200 unprivileged kids in India. And second, CRY, which is the Child Rights and You NGO, which focuses on child rights and operates in different states within India.
Okay, so to conclude, hereby we commence our journey with brushes and palettes, lights and curtains, emotions and moments, and with a belief that we carry the potential to change the world, with the hope that we spread maximum smiles and with a dream to never let the essence of art die. For art is the ethereal concoction of emotions and ideas, and these intangible threads of intellect and love make the world a better and a colorful place to live in. I would love to end with a small thing I believe in. When they say that creativity leads to nothing and you should choose a normal path, just have the belief that normal is an illusion. What is normal for a spider is chaos for a fly. So believe in your art and keep going. Thank you.
Thanks
That
so
would be
much,
all.
Group 4. That was amazing. And, we're going to keep moving to Group 3. But again, across the board, I've just been so impressed. And I've seen a lot of conferences now, but I'm not even saying it, with any twinge of, I think that's like so clear to me that, candidly, these are some of the best projects I've ever seen. So with all of that, let's move on to Team 3, Aisha and Katrina.
I don't think Katrina's on the call,
No.
unfortunately, but she sends her regards. Hello, everyone, or yo, 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 as I like to say. My name is Aisha Emerson, and I'm a rising junior at Harvard. It is my absolute honor to introduce to you the 13 inspiring students my co-leader Katrina and I have had the pleasure of getting to know and watch grow over the past 7 days. Their initiative, Project Sahara, is the product of hard work, but most of all, teamwork. I've been so impressed by their inclusive leadership and passion to make a positive difference in this world. I'm certain that each of them will. That's enough for me. Sit back and enjoy.
Hi guys, how's everyone feeling today? I hope everyone's as excited as we are to present in front of you all. I've sent a small flyer on the YLC WhatsApp group. So before we start our webinar, it'd be great if y'all could just open it up. Lakshay?
Yeah, let's start.
Okay, so we're really excited to present in front of you all today. And like I said before, please just open the...
So last week, 13 passionate individuals came together to unite for a common cause. That is, to educate people rather than just making them literate, which is why we started Project Sahara.
So before we continue the presentation, I'd just like to ask a quick question where you can just put the responses in the chat. How many of y'all are familiar with government-aided educational programs?
So looking at the chat box, I can see a lot of yeses. So I'm sure that when you heard the question, you immediately thought of academic lessons. But extracurriculars and mental health awareness are essential for the holistic development of a student. You and I are very privileged. Our schools provide these facilities for us, and some of us even attend classes outside of school to build on our skills. However, there is a huge void in India regarding extracurricular activities, especially amongst the underprivileged sectors of society. Children who live in these areas do not have access to well-qualified teachers, moreover mentors who can teach them things like art, vocational subjects, technology and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to improve chances of job opportunities outside. In India, living in rural areas and becoming literate is very possible. However, children are not becoming educated.
At Project Sahara, our mission
is to be able to provide life skills through holistic education. We intend on doing so by developing their communication skills and giving them exposure to performing arts and visual arts. Through this, we were able to identify a few objectives, which my friend Siddharth will be sharing with you all.
We want to give life skills such as effective communication skills to the underprivileged so that they can grow as an individual and use those skills to their advantage later in their lives. Our mission is to offer extracurriculars to underprivileged children so that they can go beyond their horizon through different experiences and perceptions. Extracurriculars can not only give social opportunities to these children but also empower the students to tackle obstacles in the real world by acquiring skills such as leadership. We also want to spread awareness about mental health. Emotional and mental health are critical as they are a crucial part of our everyday lives and they have an effect on our feelings, attitudes, and emotions. Being balanced mentally can enhance flexibility and success at school as well. It plays a significant role in the health of your friendship and allows you to adapt and cope with adversity to changes in your life.
So now I'll be talking about the solution. So the solution is creating a project that provides underprivileged children access to vocational training through extracurriculars. So with this, I would like to give you some piece of information. The literacy rate in India is over 75%, but literate are all these 75% people who are literate, are they really educated? No, right? So we aim to make them educated rather than just making them literate. We also aim to introduce mental health awareness workshops as well. So we'll be bringing holistic learning to children in rural areas and promote comprehensive learning. Comprehensive learning means that they'll be able to understand what and we'll be starting off the project in unprivileged urban areas, which with time, we would be expanding that project to rural areas in villages as well. So we'll be conducting mental health workshops initially on a small scale, and then we'll be eventually increasing those workshops on to a large scale.
Okay, so following such a solution would help us in providing the underprivileged children an opportunity that could change their lives. They would be able to develop their personality, build on their skills, and avail such facilities that they may not have had access to otherwise. We believe as a group that this would make the children well rounded students and more capable in adjusting themselves to the growing competition in the world. Introducing mental health and normalizing it would help us spreading awareness in rural areas. This solution would reduce the difference between the kind of education that is given in government schools and that is provided in private ones. And finally, exposing these kids to successful professionals through these classes and workshops that we would be conducting will give them an ambitious outlook towards their careers and also promote holistic development and mental health awareness. After all, they are a part of the future too.
Now that we have talked about the what of our program, let me talk about the how. Execution will take place in different tiers and in different ways. It will begin within the organization as we allocate portfolios to the members working on the project according to their strengths and passions. Secondly, we will be approaching schools, teachers, and professionals to bring them all on one platform to carry out this project. We will also be deciding where and when we will be inaugurating this project. We plan on beginning with underdeveloped areas and urban cities and moving towards rural areas. Now let's talk about money. As for now, we don't need any funds, but we do plan on organizing fundraisers when we are in need of them. The most important part of our project is the quality of teaching. So to ensure that, we will be conducting personal interviews where the eligibility of every volunteer will be taken into account. As important as it is for this quality of education to exist, it is equally important for its maintenance. To ensure that, we will establish a system of double feedback, wherein we'll be taking feedback from the coordinators at the school as well as our expert volunteers who will be representing us there. Hence, we will be aware of the ground reality at all times, and ever ready to correct loopholes. Lastly, our schedules will be organized according to convenience of schools, students, as well as professionals.
To provide a bit more clarity on the kind of extracurriculars that we'll be having, we would like to begin by providing visual arts, communication skills, and performing arts. Initially, and as our plan progresses and expands, we plan to include other extracurriculars such as STEM and other vocational courses. To give some insight on the kind of collaborations, we would be collaborating with organizations, professionals, and teachers who have experience in this sector and bring them to the underprivileged children so that they have access to the best and the top-notch facilities.
We will start by holding workshops to arouse the interest of children, then hold classes for extracurricular activities during the weekends. Mental health sessions will be provided twice a month in the initial phase. For those children who might require more sessions, we shall be able to provide them with extra support from dedicated counselors. This would be much easier once our program gets better recognition and the pool of volunteers expands. After a period of time, say 1 year, we can hold a fundraising event in which we will showcase the skills the children will have learned. This will be fun and will also encourage other students to join our program. The funds collected through this event will be used to sponsor the education of those who have been part of this program. This will help those children with financial constraints achieve a better education. We could also organize small competitions among students to increase their interest. Due to the current scenario with COVID-19, we can initially hold all workshops and classes through various platforms like Zoom. In this manner, we can ensure holistic development of underprivileged children.
To provide some clarity on the networking and incentives, building a network that will bring together teachers and students from private schools to students of government schools is our main aim. We would also be introducing certificates and internship letters for students as well as the teachers and mentors who are a part of the program. This will not only encourage the underprivileged children to be a part of our program, but also provide an incentive to the teachers and mentors who are aiding us, because it will give some clarity and some credibility to their resume, as well as build up on CAS hours. And most of all, it will help them contribute to their community.
Our plan of action revolves around starting our program in underprivileged urban areas via online events like mental health workshops to gain attention of people, and then slowly, with a timely growth, reach rural and tribal areas where we can start with extracurricular classes and then slowly teach them the importance of mental health.
So now I'm going to be addressing a few challenges that we might face. And as we know it, any business model isn't perfect. So I'm going to be addressing some of the challenges and also the resolutions that we have planned. So the first one is communication with small schools in urban cities. So we acknowledge the fact that communications with small schools may be challenging. However, we hope to access only a few to begin with and gradually spread the word by getting in contact with the rest of the schools through developed contacts in the region. The second problem is explaining the importance of mental health. So as here previously explained it, there's a huge gap in knowledge about mental health. So how do we bridge this gap? Well, we plan on hosting seminars about the importance of mental health with specialized counselors once we are no longer homebound. This will take place in an undeveloped area of an urban city, and the target audience will primarily be the parents of the students in the respective school. The third challenge that we might face is the provision of extracurricular services. So this might also just be an initial challenge. However, we plan on kicking it off by communicating with one school in the region and learning about their infrastructural facilities. We will then assess which one of the extracurriculars are most suitable for that specific school. And we're going to conduct group webinars with high schoolers that are experienced in those certain activities. The recruiting process is not random, as he spoke about it earlier. This is to ensure that the level, that their level on this topic, their level of passion on this topic matches ours. So now I'll be talking about the linguistic barriers as a challenge that we will face. So we are bound to have linguistic barriers between the students and their mentors, but this will be alleviated by selecting a local mentor on basis of their ability to speak the local language to ensure that this doesn't prohibit the learning program. Now I will hand it over to Vartika.
In terms of funding, we're currently not looking for serious funding as we're still on the planning and beginning of the implementation stage. We will, however, be requiring funding for purchasing a website domain. However, we have currently substituted that with a free of cost Wix website. In the long term, we will also be working on bridging in important psychiatrists and children's educators for mental health consultancy, and we envision that if we require to keep them on board with us as full-time, we will have to provide them with certain monetary incentives. In addition, to reach out to the larger mass, we're also considering on working with social media influencers and advertisers that might require incentive as well. However, these are all long-term considerations as we expect our project to grow and scale up distinctively, and expect all these fundings to come through sponsors as well as through all our fundraisers.
We at Project Sahara have planned to break down our tasks over a period of time so as to track our progress. In the next 6 months, we will be working in underprivileged urban areas in cities such as Delhi, Mumbai, Jaipur, and Kerala. Our team would have begun facilitating activities such as visual arts, public speaking, and performing arts. These sessions will happen every weekend. Mental health consulting will also be scheduled twice a month initially. Project Sahara's social media and website would be fully functioning to spread awareness and information about us and our cause. In 1 year, we would have expanded our outreach to rural areas as well. We will hold performances to showcase our children's newly acquired skills and talents. Facilitators and volunteers who have been spending a lot of time on our project will also be given certificates. By normalizing talking about mental health and giving our children opportunities, we hope to empower our students and give them a brighter future.
Individually, we are one drop. Together, we are an ocean, quoted by Rhinosuke Sataro. These are the NGOs we'll be working with in future, such as Educare, who envision a world where everyone has equal opportunities. They also focus on education, skills training, and HR development. The other one is Make a Difference, abbreviated as MAD. That is a support program that provides shelter and education to children with vulnerable backgrounds. The other one is Fortis Mental Health Program. It is an integrated mental health care system with an exceptional experts such as psychiatrists and etc. who provide interactive talks as well as workshops on topics like adolescent mental health. The best part is they have even contacted us and we'll soon be doing partnership with them. We'll also include people who volunteer such as teachers, school counselors, students from high school, and schools from urban rural areas. Passing on to Laksh.
So because everybody deserves better education, opportunities, health. And here I would like to end here with that with what Nelson Mandela said, that education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. And here what he spoke was about education. It was not about literacy.
Thank you so much for your precious time. We really hope that you found it worth the 10 to 15 minutes. Sahara means support in Hindi, so we'd really like to give a shout out to the counselors, fellow students, and of course Rishi sir for constantly assisting us throughout the way to make this possible. Please have a look at our Instagram and feel free to email us at projectsaharaofficial@gmail.com if you have any questions. Thank you.
Aizen, thanks so much, Team 3, Project Sahara. And we're going to move right along to Team 2 with an introduction by Andrew D'Souza.
Before we do that, to all the parents who are seeing this, again, I hope you realize how important it is to, from the conception of an idea to then come on to partnering up with NGOs, with companies, building a website, tying up with different people. It's really incredible work that all of these teams have done. And a special shout out to all the children again, with such diverse backgrounds, you know that how scared the kids are to really speak up, even in a virtual environment. So again, kudos to you all to really put your face, put your voice out there, and really making this happen. So congratulations to Team Sahara, and we'll move to Andrew.
Perfect. Thanks, Rishi. Yeah, Rishi touched a lot about what the things that I was gonna say. I'm gonna be introducing Team 2. And again, all the counselors have said it, but I just want to say that, it's been an honor to be the counselor for this group, watching them, do everything in the project from its inception. They were the ones who came up with the idea through brainstorming. They worked together, came up with a plan, the research, the, social media, the presentation, all aspects of it. They say thank you to us, but, it's really, we thank you guys because, it's been an absolute honor these past couple of days. But without further ado, I'll allow the introduction of Project Inclusion 20.
Sorry for the delay. It's just not letting me share screen. Okay, I think it's sharing now.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, Project Inclusion, Education for the Mentally Disabled. A Justice Project by the YLC Procrastinators, Harvard YLC 2020 Initiative. We, the procrastinators, finally decided to sit down and collaborate on the presentation, and we decided to champion the education of the mentally disabled. So when we all sat down, we decided that the special needs sector needed to be identified by the people. It needed to be brought under the public spectrum. It has gone unnoticed for years. It has been underfunded for years. And this is all because of public stigma. And we hope to change that. Thank you. So as you can see, these are our team members. And I'll just leave this up on screen for like a few seconds so you can read all our names. And today we're going to be focusing on 6 major themes.
Based on this information, the significance of this issue will be made clear. Globally, according to the current statistics, 1 in 4 people will be affected in their lifetime by mental or neurological disorders in their lives, and around 450 million people are mentally disabled. With regards to India, in the year 2017, 1 in 7 Indians were affected by mental disorders, and 197.3 million people had mental disorders in India, which is 14.3% of the entire population. Next slide.
As you can see, this is how you define a mental disability. And we'll be taking up 5 major mental disabilities in our presentation today. Learning and behavioral developmental disorders like attention deficit, hyperactivity syndrome, and autism spectrum disorder, as well as learning disorders like dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia. Next.
Hey guys, so before we dive right into our integration plan and solutions, let us analyze the present situation in India regarding students with mental disabilities. India lacks a central body to frame guidelines for mentally challenged children, leaving colleges and schools to decide for themselves. This usually doesn't work in favor of the child or the parents. Most of the mentally disabled children don't attend regular school in India. There is the National Institute of Open Schooling, which is a special board of education running schools under the union government, but hardly any children actually attend these schools. Finally, I would like to even touch upon one of the main drawbacks in educating a mentally challenged child, which is the parents' lack of awareness in a country like India. This usually results in not obtaining a disability certificate for their respective child, which in turn results in the loss of opportunities in obtaining free education, special programs, and scholarships. Next slide.
A few terms to keep in mind. Due to the sensitive nature of this issue, people without mental disabilities or illnesses are referred to as neurotypical rather than normal, and people with mental disabilities are referred to as neurodivergent. Okay. So, in addition to the disabilities of neurodivergent people, the reason their integration in our society and their proper education for them is an issue is because of the stigma surrounding them. It's a common perception that neurodivergent people are somehow lesser than neurotypical people, and the term mentally disabled is often associated with violence and explosive behavior. In addition to this, the overall lack of information about mental disabilities results in society as a whole being uncomfortable with acknowledging the existence of neurodivergent people. It is important to get rid of this overwhelming stigma to move forward with improving the quality of education of our neurodivergent peers. Next slide, please.
Children with disabilities face the longest road to education. So did they in the developed countries. But the developed countries have tackled this problem by taking these steps like promoting accessible and inclusive learning spaces, investing in teacher training for inclusive education, applying multi-sectoral approach. USA, UK, and Japan did the following. US integrated the studies of disabled children with the normal children by introducing a federal law, IDEA, in 1975. The UK legislation and UN recognize that disability is about the way the society responds. Japanese children with disability have traditionally been educated in special schools, but after 2006, all children were taught together in same school and inclusive education came into force. We can definitely learn from these countries and implement these steps in our country and get better and eventually become best for the all. Thank you. Next slide, please.
So now we'll dive into the solutions to our problem. Basically, on a bigger screen, we introduce two solutions. First is going to be inclusive education, and second is sensitization.
There are inclusive classrooms and exclusive classrooms. In inclusive classrooms, there is a regular environment. These students get inspired by the positive performance of their peers, and by this, rise to the expectations of the teachers. There is a lot of exposure and sensitivity for everyone. However, in special education schools, there is a greater chance for labeling and stigmas. Even on the educator's side, they tend to treat mentally disabled students as less able than students without these disabilities. These students also tend to get excluded from the community and often don't get to experience normalcy as they are looked at as less than children without these disabilities. While both the educational methods are available, it is important to remove the barriers of treating students without disabilities different than those with. Next slide.
So, on to the next very essential point, integration. The question here is, why do we need to do it and how does it benefit everyone? The answer is right in front of you. It adds to the diversity of the classroom. Imagine a very different group of students in the same classroom. There is no discrimination at the roots. The typical student gets a lot of exposure to diversity, acceptance, and humanization. Inclusive education aims to combine neurodivergent individuals into regular schools rather than sending them off to faraway schools excluded from the start. This would increase cultural acceptance and help reduce myth and stereotypes, which would lead to increased educational standards to suit all students. So, schools will adopt new technology to be able to accommodate, thus benefiting everyone. A very important thing is that children with mental disorders look up to the regular individuals for behavior and conduct if they are included in inclusive education. This would promote improved behavior in all students throughout. Move on to the next slide, please.
We need to understand that the key to overcoming problems faced by the mentally disabled children is adopting the Waldorf curriculum. This curriculum is getting more and more popular day by day as the world sees how effective this is. The key takeaway from this curriculum is that instead of 30 to 40-minute lessons of a particular subject in a week, schools must keep 2-hour main lessons of a particular subject daily and should keep teaching that subject for continuously for a week, so that the children weak at it or with learning disabilities can get in depth and understand the subject from scratch. Instead, in the 30 to 40-minute lessons, people just tend to overlook their mistakes and not go in deep and then face problems. Thank you. The next slide, please. Another program that we need to understand is the Individualized Education Program, often called the IEP, which is a legal document under the United States law that is developed for each public school in the US. It is created through a team of the child's parents and district personnel who are knowledgeable about the child's needs. An IEP outlines the child's experience for all eligible students with a disability between the ages of 3 and 21. The IEP describes present levels of performance, trends, and needs and creates measurable goals based on the data. It provides free and appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. This helps children reach educational goals more easily than they otherwise would. This system should be adopted in our country, India, so that our children can also learn better and because they are the future. Thank you. Next slide, please.
So the next solution really is a concept that we ourselves as a team have devised, which is an ideal classroom setup. So we have different shapes here present on this slide, but please do not get confused with the geometrical figures present. What we really mean to do is differentiate between the different categories that we represented. So the main one right now we have is the main classroom, which is the tables, the whiteboard, the blackboard, the chairs, even if assistive technology is being used. And that will be present in all the schools. Now, the other three aspects is what we need to include in either special schools or inclusive education. So the first one is occupational therapy area. Now, in here, a lot of physical therapy activities are actually performed, but it's quite different. It's really to work on the students' fine motor and cognitive skills to perform tasks that are meaningful to them. Then another aspect is the sensory integration area. Sensory integration therapy aims to help kids with sensory processing issues, which some people might even refer to an aspect of these particular disorders as sensory integration disorder. But see, exposing them to this sensory stimulation in a structured, repetitive way will be a very effective scholastic program. And then finally, something known as the social triangle. In inclusive education, there are really three dimensions of social interaction that we should establish with all the students. Primarily the student and teacher one, then the special needs students with other special needs students, and finally for inclusive setups, as I aforementioned, social interaction with special needs children and neurotypical children. This will be both beneficial for both sides for understanding and definitely the social purpose. Next slide, please. Now, the final solution in the category of inclusive education really is behavioral management. Now, that's a very important thing because this is not present in the normal neurotypical schools. In the schooling process, we should take into consideration why neurodivergent students are very different, and behavior is a big thing. People in the spectrum, autism spectrum, or with ADHD require behavioral intervention. Now, one particular very famous strategy is known as ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis. Now, if we can apply that effectively in Indian schools just by teachers taking courses or doing research on this, it will definitely improve the system to a very effectual extent. So yes, we will definitely be requesting and imploring and even exhorting the schools to be doing this process. So finally, the last part of this solution, if you can go to the next slide, is really a way we've devised to keep all of these solutions intertwined with each other. So if we go with the special schools aspect, they have their own liberty to choose their own curriculum. So they can either choose the Waldorf curriculum, which has many advantages, as Yashrab already talked about. And really, they can also go through the academic aspects, but that's all up to them once again. But once they do, they can go through the common inclusive setup, which is the three main things: behavioral management, an ideal classroom setup, and involving the IEPs. So as Yashraj and myself have spoken about, these solutions is really a culmination of all of them together. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Okay, so the second topic is sensitization. First, fostering NGOs. Establishing partnerships with NGOs, service providers, and other institutes to support regular providers of education, healthcare, and social care. NGOs have already done projects such as Ashadi Mission, Neptune Foundation, and the Banyan. So, due to this experience, they can take it forward. Then, disability awareness training. Currently, people in India are not aware of mental disabilities, especially in the rural areas. And even if they know about their mental disabilities, they generally don't recognize that they have them. Then, promoting public education through media campaigns. The objective of media campaigns is to increase awareness of mentally disabled diseases. Monitor and advise on accessibility. Creating awareness is one thing, and making it accessible for the public is just another. So, we'll have to work on making these programs and facilities accessible to the public. This is also going to help in raising the funds for resources because people are going to donate after coming to know about these. Conduct inclusive activities. Inclusive activities are those activities whereby people with disabilities are given the opportunity to participate in certain activities such as educational and recreational activities. And this will make them feel acceptable in the society and not feel discriminated. Then the last topic is provide legal support to parents and disabled children regarding their right to education. So the right to education was passed in 2009. As many parents and children are still unaware of this right, we need to make it aware to them. We have to provide support to parents as well because children are dependent on their parents to recognize psychopathologies and seek services for their mental health problems. Thank you. Please move to the next slide.
So talking about the action schemes that we promote. The first act that we promote is the Persons with Disabilities Act, which was passed in 1995. This act provides education, employment, and social security for disabled people. A few disabilities included in this act are mental retardation, blindness, and various mental illnesses, which we have mentioned before. The second act, National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation, and Multiple Disabilities Act in 1999. So this act sets up a national trust in order to enable people with disabilities to live independently by facilitating equal opportunities in society and promoting measures for protection in case of the death of a parent. The Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan organization works with the government. Their main aim is to make primary education universal. This aims to address the needs of 192 million children. Finally, we have the Accessible India campaign. This helps provide accessibility to disabled people, and it falls under the Persons with Disabilities Act in 1995. Next slide, please.
We as a group trying to help more and more children get better education contacted various NGOs across the country. This NGO Bachpan, established in 2017, is operating in Kolkata. It has over 50 volunteers and has successfully completed over 10 projects. One of this project is Each One Teach One, where they educate the children either financially unstable or mentally disabled. So we, tying up with them, are trying to help more and more children get proper education and succeed in life. Next slide, please.
Okay, so as you can see, this is our Instagram page, project_inclusion20, and the 20 is because this is the year 2020. So yeah, you can just contact us here, or you can email us at projectinclusion20@gmail.com.
So I would take this opportunity to conclude by quoting a beautiful line. A child is only as disabled as his environment and the beliefs of people around him. With this, we end our presentation, and I hope you all liked it. We would take this moment to thank our counselor, Andrew. it has been a huge opportunity to work with him, and we all would want you to know that it was an amazing week learning from you. We would also thank all the other counselors, Rishi sir and his team. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. And without further ado, last but not least, we have Albie's group, Albie and the Chipmunks. We're gonna, after this, again, thank you guys for staying up late for those who are in the Indian subcontinent. So after the presentation, we'll hop into a brief discussion about certificates and then next steps. But I'll give it over to Albie.
What's up, guys? My name is Albie. I am a rising senior at the college, and this past week I've had the privilege of working with Group 1. As Ishan mentioned, they've named themselves Albie and the Chipmunks for a little play on words off of Alvin and the Chipmunks. Very clever, and it goes to show how clever the group was throughout the entire week. So they've been working very hard, and I'm so proud to finally be able to see all of their work come together. And it's really funny because they ended up choosing a topic that is actually really related to what I'm doing for an internship this summer as well. So for them to come up with something like this on their own as high school students just goes to show that they have a whole lot of potential going forward, and I can't wait to see it all come together. Go ahead, guys.
You please share. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to introduce Albie and the Chipmunks, and we have named our project Project Sampark. Now I would like to give it over to Shabir, who will be talking about some facts and figures about Indian handicrafts.
Yeah, so good evening, everybody. I'll be sharing some statistics of Indian handicrafts with you guys today. So as we can see here in the slide that Indian handicrafts are being exported to 10 major countries, which are US, the UK, the UAE, Germany, France, Latin American countries, Italy, Netherlands, Canada, and Australia. And you'll be surprised to know that the history of our handicraft goes as back as 5,000 years, and it was mentioned in the Mahabharata. So, and I was really shocked and hurted after I came to know that we have, despite the rich heritage and diversity in our handicrafts, we only have 2% share of the global market, and whereas China claims its share to be around 17%, and we are not even close yet. And and almost 76% of the artisans are self-employed in India, and handicraft is the second biggest second biggest employment industry after agriculture. It employs 20 million people. And I was also surprised to know that the domestic consumption in India is only 40%, and 60% of the handicrafts are being exported. So this worried a lot, like we export 60% of our handicrafts to a market where we have only 2% share. And we have the risk to lose the business there. So that's why, like, we wanted to do this project, like to build a stable market for the Indian goods and in India itself. And I think that we can expand the handicrafts industry a lot in India, since India is a very young country, and like around more than 50% of the population in India is under 25, and which is like very young compared to China, which have average age of 37, and Japan, which have an average age of 48. So yeah, now I would like Samya to take you further into the presentation.
One minute, I think we're having some technical difficulties right now.
That's fine, guys. Don't worry about it.
The problem we have identified. The initiative matters because we are providing the talented and skillful artisans and creators an ideal way to sell their products from a traditional brick and mortar store or even street side stalls to an innovative and well-loved brand. We believe that India is a country full of astounding artisans and craftsmen whose products have huge market potential. Hence, we are providing the disadvantaged and under-resourced producers an online customer service through which they can reach a potential buyer, along with educating them on the uses of Paytm, Google Pay, and eBay, so that these well-deserved creators are able to expand their businesses from one singular store to a fully expanded merchandise business. Passing on to Sumera.
I'll be talking about who all our project will affect. The handloom and handicrafts industry the handloom and handicrafts industry is the second biggest employer in our country after the agricultural sector. The artisans, just like migrant workers, are daily workers who get paid and hired one day at a time. But in this sense, the artisans earn by going and exhibiting their artwork in markets and exhibitions. Since all the markets are closed because of the coronavirus, neither can they buy their raw material nor sell their handicraft. And December to March is the peak season for tourism in our country. Fairs and exhibitions like the annual Surajkand Craft Mela, which yields a massive footfall, has been cancelled, resulting in them losing part of their revenue. And again, because of the COVID-19, their season has been cut short, and many of them are on the cusp of financial distress. And some examples of handicrafts practice in India, which have been affected by this, are the Kathputli artisans in Rajasthan, the Agra marble art, which is the finest marble inlay artwork in India, the blue pottery in Jaipur, seashell crafts in Andaman, the Jutti footwear in Punjab, terracotta and pottery in Assam, coconut shell craft in Kerala, and the Konark stone carving in Orissa, which is an ancient practice. And we can see all these handicrafts have been spread all over India, and I hope through our project we can help them.
Okay, so we would like to, I'm sure you guys don't know this, but Amazon charges individual sellers approximately 75 rupees for each item sold on Amazon, in addition to variable closing fees ranging from 34 rupees to 102 rupees. Plus, professional sellers pay variable closing fees and referral fee percentages ranging from 6% to 25% of their product. Most of the e-commerce sites today charge a certain rate of subscription fee annually or monthly from the people who want to sell their products on their platform. And then to sell these products to the buyers, the platforms add commission, referral fee, shipping charges, etc. As their own profit. Our target sellers are those who do not have enough resources to sell their products on these big platforms. It is difficult for them to even understand the process of this or how to go about it. We will just be the ones who will connect these sellers who do not have the resources to potential buyers, and we will be a link assisting them on how to transact money online and other processes like these. Now, Neeraj would continue with the presentation.
So, what our mission statement is? Our mission statement is a non-profit e-commerce platform focused on supplying opportunities for otherwise unresourced producers. Also, the name of our organization, Sampark. Sampark has been derived from the Sanskrit and Hindi word of the same name, which means to link or to connect. We are an e-commerce platform. We connect individuals, these underprivileged, skillful creators. We connect them with potential buyers and wholesalers, helping them sell their exceptional products in reliable markets so that they get maximum profits for their hard work.
We have created a small goal analysis for our organization. During the conference, our amazing counselors have explained us what SMART goals are. SMART goals are, this is the SMART analysis. The S in SMART goals analysis stands for specific. We, the founders of Sampark, wanted to keep a specific goal for us to aim in order for our organization to help as many people as we can. Our specific goal is to empower young entrepreneurs and talented craftsmen to progress with each other and sell their products. The M stands for measurable, which means that our organization aims to keep small goals and not overwhelm ourselves with big ones. Our measurable goal is that we have to make sure that our clients receive the best interface to sell and buy products at utmost freedom. The A stands for attainable. This means that we have to be able to attain our goals, otherwise client satisfaction may go down. These goals are supposed to be attainable so that we make sure that our clients can be able to completely communicate with their buyers and sellers. The last two are very important, which is because they drive our organization forward. And without these two, we wouldn't be able to proceed with our goals. The R stands for realistic. This means that we should always make a realistic goal for what we should approach. We have set a realistic goal to try to get a client to use our e-commerce platform to sell goods and services. And time, we are firm believers of time. Our goal is to initiate this organization by the end of August. And now I'll pass it over to Parth.
Hello.
Yeah.
Maybe. Sampark wishes to connect the low socio-economic artisans of India to wholesalers and retailers who can sell their products for higher prices in cities. We want to help these artisans recognize their talents and earn money. These artisans are ignorant of their abilities and do not value it as much as the international market does. This mission will help us promote arts and humanities in India. It will also help increase the number of entrepreneurs. We aim to help, not gain.
So, how are we different from other organizations? First of all, with the constantly changing advancements in the evolving markets, Sampark educates and aids artisans and craftsmen as we believe their products have huge potential and they should not miss out on learning about new opportunities. Also, through Sampark, we strive to honor the conventional retail policies while simultaneously keeping them up to date to provide fair opportunity for these ideas and skilled minds to exist. Also, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be many changes in the traditional market trends and mediums. So, Sampark wants to help these artisans become independent and yield the maximum profit for their hard work. Also, if you can see in this table, it describes how Sampark is different from other organizations. Other organizations, first pros of other handicraftsmen working with other organizations, they get the cost price what they've made, but these organizations charge them for advertising and contract charges. Otherwise, they also get the selling price of the article, which is the CP plus the commission. But these organizations keep the commission, and if the price given by the manufacturers is kept as profits. Whereas what Sampark does is we help them market their product and connect them to potential buyers free of cost. But the con is that and also they give us the opportunity to advertise their product for themselves free of cost. We also connect them to sellers and they coordinate amongst them. They either coordinate amongst themselves for the money and transactions, or we help them out. Also, we've also wanted to say this, but we won't actually be involved in any money transactions between the two entities other than we'll just help them out. Next.
Thank you, Neeraj. So our aims as the organization Sampark. Sampark plans to not only educate, but help many astounding artisans and craftsmen keep up with the advancements and evolution in the market. And as perfectly put by my fellow teammate Samya, as their products have huge market potential and deserve an equal chance to do the same. So, as like mentioned, through Sampark, we strive to honor the conventional retail policies. As we know that they lie within the comfort zones of many of these small artisans and businesses. So, not to push them into something new suddenly, Sampark practices these conventional policies at the same time introducing new up-to-date policies to prepare them for the future and at the same time make them steady for the very crude market. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there will be many changes in the traditional market trends and mediums. And Sampark wants to help these artisans become independent and get the most maximum profit, as most of them aren't working and aren't able to earn, as pointed out by my fellow teammates. Our aims include to provide a fair and easily accessible online platform. So we are doing this through a website that has been created by us. So we use our website and we plan to expand it further into an application later. Second, maximize profits and incomes for all businesses and creators, as there is no middleman to eat the commission from all the hard-earned money. All the people who are signed up with Sampark and all the artisans and small business who strive to work with us will get the 100% yield of what the customer pays, as Sampark does not cut any commission or any money from the middle. We want to be an asset instead of a burden. Hence, there is no subscription fee, as many people, if their products aren't selling like hotcakes, might feel discouraged to be on such a platform, as they're also paying a subscription fee, like in cases of Amazon and eBay and Flipkart. But through Sampark, as there is no subscription fee, it motivates the people to stay on the website and continue on this consistent path of change and evolution with technology and grow their businesses and themselves together. Empower businesses and creators by making them independent. Like we said, Sampark is just the catalyst in the situation. We do not get involved in the middle. So we want all these sellers and all the buyers to interact with each other themselves, understand the whole dynamic of their relationship, and make them confident about their personal attributes and their personal talents. So we don't want them to be dependent on us, because the moment if Sampark if they want to progress further with their own personal brand or something, they might not be able to function quite well if they're independent. Hence, we want to empower those businesses and those creative minds. Educate them about financial technology like online transactions. Like we know, online transactions are the future of money transactions, and many people now in India have started using apps such as Paytm, PayUmoney, Google Pay, etc., to take these cashless transactions. And why not? Given that it's more secure and it's more advanced. Plus, due to the current COVID times, it reduces contact with people, and I think it's best to stay away from people right now. So online transactions are a bit of a dicey platform and a ground for all these people, as they aren't very well versed with technology. So our website and our project actually strives to offer these kind of services for them as well, so they are confident in their own business skills and enhance their business further. And lastly, build a large customer range outside their communities, as most of them are only functioning through word of mouth or working in their local communities. At the maximum target audience they get might be the city at max, if we are very optimistic about it, or it's a word of mouth or someone who suggests them to another person. Through this, they'll be able to connect with the larger community, work with people all over the globe, and at the same time increase their profits and yields and earn more at the same time, and get exposure which they never thought they would be able to. Next slide. So a little something about our website. We wanted to keep our website as simple and user-friendly as possible. So anyone who wishes to present their products on our website will register using a form and will be given a spot under the category they work for, free of charge. So for example, if a seller in Rajasthan would like to sell bangles, so if they register with our website, they will be put under the category of accessories and then another subcategories of bangles and bracelets. Sorry. The idea of providing a spot on the website free of cost means they won't sell, even if they don't sell much products, they won't be spending extra money on this and still be motivated to stay on the website. The buyers who are browsing through these websites will be able to view all the pictures of the products and prices, which will be set by the sellers and creators. We plan to maintain clear transparency between the sellers and the buyers, so they know what they're indulging in, and also the buyer and also the sellers to know who they are actually selling the stuff to. Given that the internet is a bit of a new forte for them, the thing is gaining that trust is important, and maintaining this transparency is crucial to help them as well as our cause further. Hence, a fair opportunity for them to earn money, as all the prices will be set by them, no middle commissions would be cut, so all the money they would like to get earned or like deserve for the hard work will be in their pockets and not ours. Transaction methods like Paytm, Google Pay, PayUmoney will be taught and used thoroughly. So, as we all know, physical contact and confrontations aren't really much of an option right now. So, I think online transactions would really help them and conquer another forte in their field of economics, or at the same time market. Once a customer likes something, so now this is the basic shopping platform, so they can put it in the cart, and like what we do in conventional shopping sites, and they would directly get to speak to the buyers themselves. So an effective form of communication has been established, and we are using the chat option, which is very common in all many websites. So chat options will help them communicate with the buyers and sellers directly. Many people wouldn't know how to type or text, so that's completely okay, because we will be providing their phone numbers if they want to contact them directly over the phone as well. Whatever works for our artisans and our clients, we are ready to provide for them. And we want to prepare them for everything that is there further, and like we said, we're just the catalyst in the equation. We want to help them speed up their process and their path to success. So that's why we'll be supplying them and supporting them with all resources and all kind of support, in whether it's emotional, whether it's like financial, or even if it's just understand the internet. Sampark will be there for them. Sampark will always be there. Over to Parini.
Thanks, Noor. So, next slide.
Yeah, this is just an overview of what the website looks like. So these are the certain aspects. This website is compatible on phones and laptops both, so it can be accessed easily.
Okay, so in order to enhance our outreach, we'll be establishing relations with local trade unions to generate awareness about our organization. We'll also be launching marketing campaigns across social media, which will help promote our brand. In addition to creating a website, we'll also be creating an app which will make the process easier and more accessible for our clients. We'll be partnering with other credible nonprofit organizations to further expand our own organization and make use of their vast resources and expertise. Over to Krish.
Yeah. Oh yeah, going forward, I'm going to talk about the future of Sampark as an organization. So going forward, we want to incorporate a B2B platform connecting rural manufacturers to exporters and businesses in metropolitan cities. This would be beneficial to them in a multitude of ways, expanding their clientele and enabling them to produce their wares on a slightly larger scale. Also, another thing we would like to do is try to expand our reach across India, as well as target certain communities on a more micro level, which we feel have the potential to be very successful in this field. We have identified villages in Rajasthan as well as in remote areas of Assam where locals produce wares and handicrafts.
So the acknowledgements. We would like to thank Rishi sir for organizing the conference and giving us the opportunity to work on such an interesting project. We hope to carry it forward and bring about a difference.
Secondly, we would also like to thank Albi, who mentored us throughout the entire process. Without his guidance and useful suggestions, the project would never have taken shape.
Furthermore, all the other counselors, through their presentations, experiences, and tips, helped us immensely and positively influenced our outlook towards the project. So thank you once again to all the counselors and Rishi sir for making it happen.
Thank you all. Well, that I see that there is still around 40 people who are there on YouTube live. I would like to thank all the parents, everyone, all the students for bearing with us for so long. And of course, like all the students have mentioned, of course, as a personal thank you to all the counselors, who just put in so much effort to make this, conference really happen. So what we're going to do now is switch off our YouTube live. Again, thank you whoever joined us from all over the world to support these kids. And finally, it's over to Ishan once again.
Great. Thanks again, guys. Feel free, students, to turn on your cameras. We're going to be ending the live stream now. So thank you to everyone who watched.